Amazing. Rocky, what is you?
I really don't think they flew 90 billion light years to start a fight.
Some say chill days so long gone, can't bring them back, no magic wand. Counting white cotton clouds, painted on the blue sky's crowd. And yet somehow that way is fake, with eternal hopeful flair. Pineapple pizza, Hawaiian ice creams, yeah. Can't wait to be up 3 days of you and me. I'm
sailing!
I just can't wait for 3 days of you and me.
He's been cited by Forbes, The Wall Street Journal, Benny Johnson, Timcast, Dr. Jordan Peterson, and even the U.S. government.
But soon they'll wake up to see the summer sizzle in me.
We're doomed. Will this never end?
Dire wolves back and so are you.
Oh yeah,
Belvedere flying so the moon.
oh yeah.
And everyone's singing just the right tune. Maestro blasting on the jazz flute.
We are all participating in mandatory fun activities.
Jelly bean bonus, every flavor in the bag. Super movie star, but first gotta join SAG.
Keep our eyes open.
Wunderkind, super friend, where are you? Get a search warrant for the near clear blue.
It's scooping time.
And can't you believe that? We've been waiting on you, can't you see that? Put away the bad things they said to you.
You are a sad, strange little man. Have my
After all, just have to call and say you're some kind of
Because you are the special.
epic. Epic, yeah, that's what you do. I'm talking about epic, it's all you know how to do.
You wake up blue to
Epic, it's on repeat for you. Oh, epic. Epic.
Hear ye, come on, to the never stopping daily strife, and it's called simpler times, they beckon so, floating on the water with no phone. Can we get away now, find a way now, somehow step out of this stream into a dream of slow it down. Jay says that he remembers a place before the never, ever river severed our tranquility. Counting cars by Highway 30, sitting in the porch swing, guessing colors so poorly. Is the next one a blue or red one? Maybe silver, maybe gray. What a way to spend a day.
Ladies and
and gentlemen, it's the WDW Pro Show!
Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo woo indeed. We've got Lauren Connor with us right now. Southeast Game Exchange is nearly here, ladies and gentlemen, July 17th through the 19th. That's AKA in 2 days. We'll see you all this weekend, July 17th and 19th in Greenville, South Carolina. First time ever we're going to have the Pro Show with a live audience in the house. Come check us out. It'll be Friday evening, 6 p.m. Also, you can meet all of your favorite pro panelists as well as Valiant Renegade and so many more. Force of Light will be there on Saturday. And then Real Life Fake Wizard and I will be doing a meet and greet Sunday, 2 p.m. at our booth at Southeast Game Exchange. We can't wait, ladies and gentlemen, to see you along with Critical Drinker. And Lauren is going to be there. Lauren, it's been more of a challenge than we thought on both sides of this because you've had some... get over here, Lauren. Let me look at you. There we go. Lauren, you've had some difficulties making this happen, but it's going to happen. And I am now realizing that the technical difficulties. Folks, your friend Pro, the way this is going to work is I have to go from the Pro Show tomorrow with Eric Metaxas. Can't wait to have him. Lauren, then we're going to go do the Odyssey. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to review it. I'm going to come back, do a live review of that. Then we have to load up and get all the way to South Carolina overnight so that I can be ready to go Friday morning at Southeast Game Exchange. Well, that's going to be a whirlwind.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's going to be a whirlwind. All right. Well, Lauren, I'm going to put my shades and we're going to get two of our great panelists on here, shall we? What do you say? Should we find out who's behind the door?
Who could that be? Let's go see, boys and girls.
It's Ron and LW Ghost. Welcome to both of you guys.
Oh, well, it's always a pleasure. I know you're under enormous time pressure the next couple of days, but you knew the job was dangerous when you took it.
Happy to do it. It's a pleasure. It's a joy. Yes.
Bro, I didn't realize how much you look like Snoopy.
I look like Snoopy?
Oh,
so
yeah,
cool.
Look over his shoulder. Yeah, well, the glasses and the...
I try. The flying ace, I tell you. All right, folks, with grace, we'll get these
the
super
blue
chats.
Baron. You're the blue Baron.
The blue Baron instead of the red. I like it. All right, let's get these super chats up on the screen. And then, folks, we've got so much news to cover. If you are here, and by the way, I know it's a little contentious out there in the chat. Folks, we can handle that. You can handle that. No biggie. We got some Odyssey lovers out there who haven't seen it. I have seen parts of it now before I'm ready to do the review. I'm going to go see it in full. But as many of you out there, I was innocent. Lauren, I didn't do this on purpose. I was just surfing the waves of X. When what should my wondering eyes appear? But the artist formerly known as Paige, dressed as a manly soldier and not playing the part well. And now I know what I'm in for. We'll talk about it. Hang tight. Mark Fields for $4.99. I have to happily agree with you, Pro. Godzilla is my most anticipated film of the year. Positive vibes to you all and have a wonderful night. That's right, and folks, if you're members of the channel, we have the Godzilla -0 trailer review, and it's for members out there. Go check it out. But yeah, I'm so excited about that movie, really and truly. Pastor Muppets, member for 23 months. That's almost 2 years. Ha! I knew the Odyssey was going to flop like a fish out of water. Everything pointed to it being garbage. I'm still looking forward to Street Fighter. Hadouken! Godzilla, however, is the one I'm most excited for. Go, go, Godzilla. Yeah. Street Fighter, we'll see. Could be, you never know. Tiger Knee. We've got Kaylee off for 2. Master Blaster, Embargo, the Odyssey, 97%, no reviews. Well, they've got the reviews out there. The problem is they're praising it like they did one battle after another. And then we've got our friends who have seen it who say it's awful. So I don't remember the last time we had a movie you know, one battle after another, the reason we dislike it is because it's propagandistic, dreaming of causing harm to political opponents. Like, I think that's devious. The issue we have with the Odyssey right now is the people that we know who have seen this film, whom we trust for the grammar experts out there. They say it's terrible. So how's that going to play?
And 3 hours of terrible. Almost,
3 hours of terrible.
which is fewer showings per day, which is less revenue potential. So, you know, even if it was selling out, it would be hurting by comparison to shorter, more concise epics.
That's right. And folks, you know, you may say to yourself, how do I get one of these boo birds to be able to talk to Pro? These people who say, Pro's at it again, bunch of extremist haters. How could we possibly get them on the screen? Let's get that super chat goal to 50, and then who knows? They might get to ask a question, and we can set them into the middle, the straight, the center, and help them get out of the wacky ways they are. Chef Eddie for 5, the Nolan history book says, in the 1989 movie No Holds Barred, Zeus was a black man, so it is historically accurate that all Greeks were actually black. And here I thought all Greeks were just heroes. Juliet for 2, morning Pro panel and Pro rides. Good morning to you, Juliet. Thank you for being the mod that you are. Tremendous. Packing Protons for 10. Watching Seinfeld recently. The super chat clearly is about nothing. Knowing what we know about woke now, did Kramer get unfairly canceled? That Letterman confession was the most awkward moment of TV ever. I think that, okay, my opinion on this is Michael Richards, that's his name. I think that Michael Richards made a mistake when he was doing the stand-up. He didn't handle getting heckled the right way. He thought that he could get away with very blue comedy that got into racism and playing around with it. Didn't work out that way. And then the way that he responded to it was even worse. Yeah. So bad PR response to an unfortunate situation. It's hard for comedians, you know, because being a comedian means you're supposed to say whatever it is that gets a laugh. You're supposed to be the jester who takes on things that are taboo. That's the whole job of the stand-up comic.
Well, let's wait. Let me modify that.
Please.
You're supposed to take the things that make people uncomfortable and make them comfortable with them because of the laughter. When you do it in a way that makes them even more uncomfortable, you have failed the mission.
That's a good point as well. Kaloth for 5, you know, folks, we may need to redefine the fall fizzle with all the lovely epic box office blockbusters of the summer. Plenty of content. And for those out there who have not been hanging around with us long enough to know this, let me just, from my heart, okay, from Pro's heart, or sternum, whichever the case may be. We had such a good time this spring and the early or late winter of this year. There were great movies. We got to see them. We got to review them. It was wonderful. I can't tell you how much we enjoyed watching Project Hail Mary and Mario and Michael and so many other films. The times were good. And the viewership here was just the same. Folks were coming because they want to hear the truth with a capital T. What did you think of the movie? I can't help that we've been stuck with Animal Farm. I can't help that we've been stuck with this just terrible, what an avalanche of slop that has befallen us over the summer. And we predicted it the whole time. Woofles out there for 5, dear Pro and panel. I'm sorry I ruined your lives and crammed 11 cookies into the VCR. Cookie. Wait a minute, is this a Cookie Monster thing? What's going on here? C is for cookie, that's good enough for me. Patrick Ganaway is good enough for me. I'll tell you that right now. 5 gifted memberships, and Patrick, that's the way, Oh, we can't do any more. It's copyrighted. Patrick, thank you. You are our Superman.
Chemical sunshine, professor says pay no mind.
But definitely not Henry Cavill. We've got John out there for 10. Just found out today from Blind Surfer Pete Gustav channel that he had to do some sound bites for Viana. Apparently Moana means differently overseas, especially in Italy. Not safe for work. Actress. Ooh.
Oh, my.
Moana just got spicy. Calm down the waters. Patrick is out there for 5. Saw Godzilla versus the Smog monster last night. Now he can't wait for Godzilla -0. Smog got clogged by the kaiju. And Paul 12,000 for 2. I'm green. Thanks, Patrick. Love the show. Paul, it's good to see you shed the gray and turn all the way green with us. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to help the rest of our wonderful folks out there turn from gray to green, you know what to do. Gift those memberships. We appreciate you, each and every one. Already more than 800 folks out there joining us right now across the TikToks, the Instagrams. No, I'm wrong. That number's incorrect. We are closing in on 1,000 folks already, as we are at about 950 across, really just YouTube and X. But we'd like to say it. GeoCities, ICQ, AOL, and everywhere else you might find us 25 years ago here on the internet. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to dive in. I know some of you are here for the Odyssey, but what if I told you there is a story we must start off with first, because the thirst for the end of Supergirl stories is here, and we have just about reached it. How do I know? Because it turns out, wouldn't you know it, theaters are purging Supergirl from their roles. Before we go there, we have been stopped. Lauren, are we still live? Lauren, has something happened? The computer is breaking. Lauren, hang on. Lauren, I'm getting a message. Packing Protons has just broken everything with a giant 300... Folks, we'll read it in a minute. Let's just stop everything. Protons, what are you doing?
Perfect. Wahoo!
I am writing these down as we speak. The Wonderful Land of Oz. Okay, so that's what we got to watch. Lauren, are you seeing this? We are being required by Packing Protons. Should we accept the mission? And this will explode afterwards, right? Your new assignment, he says, After the Gate, which we have to watch on Lauren and Apollo. The Wonderful Land of Oz from 1969. The full movie. Okay, it's made by the same people who did Thumbelina. Folks, if you don't know, Packing Protons loves to send us cash. For the purpose of trashing our lives, we are forced to watch. This is basically Mystery Science Theater 3000, except the movies are way, way worse. So grab the hearse, ladies and gentlemen. We will be watching The Wonderful Land of Oz real soon. Packing Protons, I've got it written down. We've got the gate also scheduled. We'll get to it. And the vomit will flow, just like in Supergirl. Woofle for 16 months. The cookie VCR quote is from Elf. Wait a minute. They don't eat cookies at an Elf. They eat candy canes, syrup, more candy canes. What are you talking about? Cookies. I don't know about cookies. Patrick, is that when he goes to see his dad? Patrick, get away for 5. Maybe we can get the artist formerly known as Paige to put on a deer suit for a remake of Godzilla. Oh boy, we're in trouble with that one, aren't we? Creepy Glenn for 20. OMG, when Godzilla walks past the Statue of Liberty in the trailer, I got the goosebumps. That's right. I cannot wait. It's going to be a great movie. I'm already excited. I love that the feeling of the film is the same as the original. So, folks, if you want to come in here and say, oh, pro, Mr. Negativo, listen, we are so excited for some of the films that are coming out. Godzilla Minus Zero is just one of them, but we can't wait for good movies. Just too bad we don't have them right now. Lazy Titan for 10. I finally watched Obsession with some friends last weekend, and OMG, it was so G to the double OD good. I started watching Curry Barker's YouTube stuff, and it is so good. We don't need Hollywood slop anymore. And folks, on that note, if you would enjoy something that's Pixar-esque, it's not from Pixar, but it's better than Pixar. Josh Dawes, the genius let go by Disney, given the pink slip. Mary Sue's Adventures, Episode 3 is tremendous. We might even play it towards the end of the show today. All right, we have so many stories, folks. The first one, Supergirl is being purged from theaters, just as we said. So we'll forge ahead, and we'll get that story right now. Supergirl is super done. Supergirl is super toast, as most theaters are ready to drop her. That Park Place reporting this from Marvin Montanaro. Over 1,000 theaters drop Supergirl as James Gunn's DC disaster continues to crash out. Now, why are they dropping her? Well, this is what's interesting, folks. The obvious answer is not the correct answer. Because the obvious answer would be, oh, well, they're dropping Supergirl because they got to make way for the Odyssey. But that's not right. And the reason it's not right is because the Odyssey is primarily going to be an IMAX and PLF adventure this weekend. Supergirl was already being shown in custodian closets. What this means is they're trying to just, as fast as they can, rush this sucker out of every cinema across North America. Skipping down to the second paragraph, it says the latest setback comes as the film's domestic earnings continue to collapse, adding further fuel to concerns that James Gunn's rebooted DC universe has stumbled out of the gate in spectacular fashion. And after opening far below already muted expectations, Supergirl has struggled to maintain any momentum. Now, with exhibitors rapidly replacing the film with stronger performers, its theatrical run appears to be entering its final stages far sooner than anyone at Warner Brothers likely hoped. Here's what we've got. Following its second weekend, Supergirl lost over 1,000 theaters across North America, falling from 3,600 to 2,500 heading into its third weekend. However, folks, we believe it's going to drop even more. And why is that? Why is Supergirl being kicked out of every single screen that owners can find? Because of this. Look at this terrible, awful box office. This is by far the worst DC film in terms of tickets sold. It makes Catwoman look good. 116 million is what it's made so far at the worldwide box office as of the recording. And if we go to our domestic chart, you can see that this thing is barely climbing. In fact, here's how long it took it to go from 60 million to 70 million. Never. It still hasn't. Take a look, though. It entered on the 7th of July. It finally crossed the 60 million mark. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days later, 1 week, as scientists have declared, it still has yet to reach $10 million. An entire week, it could not make $10 million. We are still watching to see when it will cross 70. Now, I believe that 125 is a difficult task for Supergirl worldwide. All right, let's go to Lou first on this. Lou, they're kicking it out. They're bouncing it out. And I got to say, I think they're going to give this to anything else they can find, whether it's Minions, Toy Story, even Moana. They don't care at this point. Just get this crap off the screens.
Yeah, well, you know, they're in the business of this strange arcane custom called selling tickets. And when you're not selling any, that means you're not selling popcorn to empty seats either. And one thing leads to another, and you do that over, 2,000 to 1,000 theaters. What was that great line? Oh, I know. It was it's wonderful Illinois Republican senator in the 60s, Everett Dirksen. He was talking about the federal budget, but what he said was $1 billion here and $1 billion there, and before you know it, you're talking about real money. Well, this is not getting close to real money, and it isn't likely to.
That's right. Lauren, the image we're seeing right now in the article is of a bug that defecates, and people eat what comes out of the bohiney of the bug, the bohiney bug. And Supergirl seems to imbibe as well. She also pukes. She also pees on screen. This film had a 77% second weekend drop, and we may see an even bigger drop now because, well, turns out you drop a lot when you're not on any of the cinemas.
Yeah, it doesn't help. I think that when you're not on the screens, it makes it really difficult for people to watch your movie. But I mean, this was entirely predictable. You know, we kind of warned what was going to happen if they deliberately made a defensive movie. They deliberately made a defensive movie and told half the audience they didn't want us to come see it. So we obliged. Honestly, I don't think anybody has room to complain here.
Right.
And yet, I saw a kind of pixie dusterish article. Hey, she's not dead. They're doing an audio version of the Woman of Tomorrow comics. Not with her, of course, but it's like, yeah, well, Supergirl's still out there, honest. Really, gee whiz.
Nobody saw it. Nobody knows what's in it, you know. But, hey, it's still there. It's not going to be for much longer. Folks, take a look at this. This is the daily box office performance, and I just want you to see. You see this number 19 down here? That's the latest we have. 19 days, so I suppose it'll get one more in the books, 20 days. And then after that 20 days, that's when you're going to see this number here, 2,500, plummet. And when that plummets, we are essentially at the end of the run. Supergirl will have been out there for 1 day shy of 3 weeks before it is shuffled out. But it's actually worse than this because internationally, folks, I want to show you something here, okay? United Kingdom is, they gave it 6.5 million. There's nothing that's helping Supergirl. But China pulled this movie after 3 days.
Yeah.
And in those 3 days, in all of China, with 1 billion people, 3 times the population in the United States, China gave Supergirl $1 million, and all the theaters in China pulled it after 3 days. That's bad.
Actually, I'm not sure it's all the theaters. I understand they're showing it intentionally over and over again in the labor camps as a punishment. So,
who knows? Maybe keep Supergirl away from Wuhan.
The biggest number on that chart always to me is that per theater number. And when you see something making $200 in a theater, I mean, how many seats is that? And, oh, God, even if it is, like you said, the linen closet theater or the janitor's closet, look at there, 201 on the 13th. What day? I'm curious now. Let's see, 13th was this past Monday. $201 per theater?
Right.
Oh, God.
Which is to say, you're wasting your money. I mean, you can't pay for the light bulbs and the little staff to go in there and clean the floor and all that kind of stuff. Like, there's no point. Well, think about it this way. How much do we believe it costs to run air conditioning in one of those theaters?
Yeah, exactly.
A lot
Especially
of money.
this time of year. Absolutely.
A lot of money. $200 is not paying the bills. Theaters are losing money. That's why they got to run this out of there. And they don't care. Moana works.
Forget the electricity to run the air conditioning. How about to run the projector?
Yeah, exactly.
If it doesn't even pay the projector light, we got a problem right here in River City.
Right. Well, look at this. So on the weekends, okay, entire weekends, $10,000 for an entire weekend if you put Supergirl on in a theater. I'm sorry, $10,000 is not sufficient for an entire weekend to devote all those screens. And it collapsed after that. I mean, it just completely collapsed. In fact, folks, I would say that Supergirl only for one day ever made theaters money. On the 26th, that was the only day it made more than $5,000. Typically, you need to, well, the 27th, it might have broken even, but typically you need, about $3,000 per theater. They had this on in 3,600, screens. That is a ton of screens, and they paid dearly for that. I don't think they're going to fall for it again. Ron, I think that after Man of Tomorrow, unless James Gunn is gone, cinemas are going to say, we're not signing contracts where we're obliged to put this in, the huge rollout. You've lost that. We're not going to do that anymore.
I'm just thinking right now, the momentous buildup to Clayface.
Oh,
apparently is something that's going to come out. I don't know. It's funny because I was looking at my local theater and trying to see if it's still showing there. And this is really funny. Tomorrow, Supergirl has a single time slot at 11:30 a.m.
Oh,
that's it. That's the only time it's running.
Which is about when the people recovering from last night's booze binge are getting up and looking for someplace dark to hide for 2 hours.
Yes, I mean, I look from the moment I saw the first trailer, I had zero interest in this, and it's really funny because the Helen Slater movie from the 1980s, that Supergirl, it's not really that great of a movie, and it doesn't particularly hold up today. But if you compare it to this, it's like a blockbuster. Helen Slater's performance itself is actually very good. So, nothing against her, but it's just, when you think of the character of Supergirl, regardless of the comics, and I've said this so many times, and people always want to argue, but it's in the comics, and they're translating from the comics. I'm like, not everything from the comics that's made for a comic book audience works for general audiences, period.
And I'll tell you something else about that movie, Ron. It was a lousy movie. She was lovely. It was a lousy movie. But you know what? A lot of people who could care less about Supergirl or comics probably went because they were Faye Dunaway fans.
Yeah.
You don't even have a real viable, I can sell tickets with my name star in this thing. Not even close.
I mean, it's probably why they threw Jason Momoa in as Lobo, but I don't really, that's not a general audience attracting character regardless. I mean, it just isn't. And the fact of the matter is that nobody asked for this Supergirl movie. And frankly, I think the worst mistake was putting her in, was it the after credit scene in Superman? I mean, the moment she came on screen and the whole thing, her whole deal was, oh, she likes to go to red sun planet so she can get sloshed. I'm like,
she was sloshed on Earth.
Which by the way is weird. How would
none
that
of it makes
happen?
sense?
I mean,
None of it makes
How does
any
she
sense.
get off the red sun planet, by the way, if she has no powers?
In the movie,
don't-
she got a little, she got a
I
little
don't know.
spaceship. She got a space RV.
Yeah, right.
Space RV. No, really, space RV.
Uh,
Well, she's getting a space RV right on out of the theaters, folks. If it drops another 1,000 screens, that's half of what it still has, and it doesn't have much. So, Supergirl is likely to end short of definitely 150, probably 125, and this could be the thing that makes the entire DC universe dive off a cliff and have everybody at Warner Brothers, Paramount, Skydance saying, "That's enough. James Gunn, you're done. You got to go." Ladies and gentlemen, the mainstream, lamestream, going extinct dinosaur media is fawning over the Odyssey. But there are those out there who say this is a trap and film threat. Well, they've seen it. And they say you should not be thirsty for this IMAX adventure. Let's see what they have to say about it. And then we'll take a look at what Hollywood at large says. Alan Ng giving the review, and we trust Alan. Alan tries to be honest about these things. Go figure, right? Here's what he says, having seen the film. I'm going to scroll down to where he gets into the deep stuff. He says, what I expected to be a grand tale of epic proportions from the great Christopher Nolan turned out to be a boring, pretentious, 3-hour slog of Hollywood actors chewing the scenery. The cinematic storytelling was subpar at best, leaning into its own self-importance. He says, I'll start with the editing, which was relentless. It felt like the 3-hour final product was an attempt to squeeze in an 8-hour movie. There are very few stops and virtually no breaks in the story. Moments of quiet felt like they were edited out for time. Every transition was a quick cut, and stories felt like an adventurer's highlight reels. Folks, you can see more of what Alan has to say. He's got this review. We'll play a brief snippet of it. We want you to go check out Film Threat, though, and kudos to them for telling the truth. Well, I haven't seen it yet, but I know them, and I've talked with them many times. They're truthful guys. Here's what Alan Ng had to say, along with Chris Gore coming out of the theater.
Just checked out on this movie pretty much from the beginning. The sound was awful. I couldn't understand dialogue. And then I started to understand dialogue and realized how bad the dialogue is. This is the most pretentious movie I've seen all year.
Now, what's interesting to me, and Chris Gore weighs in as well, what's interesting to me is that Christopher Nolan is usually technically excellent. Whatever you think of his films, he is a technically excellent director, one of the best. So the idea that you can't even hear the dialogue is a problem. And you might say, well, I don't believe that because it's Christopher Nolan. Well, I'm here to tell you, I have seen something that causes me to change my mind. Now, I think that if I put it on the screen, they're going to come after us. So I'm not going to put it on the screen. Ron, Lauren, Lou, have you guys seen now somebody videoed one of the scenes in the theater already? It's not even released yet, but somehow somebody filmed inside the theater. Shouldn't have done it. Don't do it. But they filmed inside the theater. The artist formerly known as Paige. We all know this particular actor is, it's difficult even to talk about the actor. But this actor is portrayed in the scene as a soldier, a Greek soldier running across the battlefield. And I saw it and I said, this is infinitely silly. This is what I worried that it could be. This is very silly. This person is playing a supposedly athletic, masculine Greek soldier, and they're 5 feet tall and not very masculine. I'm sorry.
I haven't seen that because I haven't come across it. But if you have seen the other videos that have come out with Paige, you may have seen a lot of snippets of the character perhaps hauling a boulder and it ending up as a pebble at someone's feet. So my question would be, how does the actual scene compare with those?
It was, I mean, I saw the scene. I was innocent. I was just scrolling through my timeline and there it was. I'm not going to put it on the screen. I think they will get us if we put it on the screen.
On the one hand, if you have an army of 10,000 people, there's a couple of short guys, right? But on the other hand, they're not named in the opening credits actors. They're not key characters of any kind.
Right.
They used to call the extras in opera and in the theater spear carriers, because they would stand in the back with a spear and just be there as part of the human scenery, but not a star.
Well, this is my understanding is the character in the movie is revealed to sort of be parallel with Achilles somehow. So when I hear Alan say that, you can't even hear the dialogue, I believe him because I've seen this scene, and the scene is very, very silly. I have not seen the entire film, of course. I will see that soon. But here is more. This is from Chris Gore going to see the movie.
Very good. And the way the soldiers transform, I'm not going to go into detail there. I thought that was very clever. But for the most part, I'm still marinating on it. It's not a disaster, but I'll say the controversial castings,
not a big deal.
It's not that big a deal because of screen time.
Right. They might as well be cameos.
They're really not in the movie all that much. Although Elliot Page as Sinan is the greatest soldier I've ever known.
There you go. The greatest soldier we've ever known. All right. Well, here's what is happening right now. 97% from Rotten Tomatoes. The critics love this. Okay. And if we click on the critics, okay, not our friends at Film Threat. They're scoring this much lower. Let's see. Will it give us the list of? Yeah, it'll give us. Okay. So what do we got here? Oh, get off the screen. All right. Screen Hub Screen Hub, you're in trouble. You just gave it a splat. Oh, you just came in. May have to lower it a little bit. We've got another splat. How about that? Is this updating on time? I don't know. If we go down, it says, Nolan's lush tactile film makes for a thoughtful, bracing conversation with Homer's epic. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey may be based on one of the great classics of Western literature, but he has molded it to be a modern parable about our times. Oh, I can't wait to see that. Oh, please, let me see a modern parable about our times. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey stands mightily as the definitive movie version of Homer's classic literature. By the way, I'm seeing some splats in here, and they're recent. I wonder if that's not updating the score, because I don't think it would have the score it has with these kind of splats. Anyway, we'll see. We got top critics, of course, and they're all very excited. Let's see. Here's Rolling Stone. Rolling Stone, which if you all know, Rolling Stone has never said a truthful thing in the entire history of its publication. What you tend to walk away with after bearing witness to The Odyssey, arguably Christopher Nolan's best work after 2017's Dunkirk, is an overall sensation of awe. It is one of the most dynamic movies in recent memory. Now, folks, why am I skeptical? Why am I siding with Film Threat despite the fact that I've not yet seen the film? And I will go in with an open mind, and I will eat crow if I come out of there and say, you know what, it's a good movie. And I will if it's a good movie. Here's why. Rotten Tomatoes. One battle after another. A disgusting film, which was designed from beginning to end in order to live out a fantasy on screen of causing harm and pain to your political opponents, to conservatives. It is Hollywood's dream of hunting down conservatives. 94% Rotten Tomatoes score. That's why I am skeptical, and that's why when our friends at Film Threat say that this thing is, it's not a disaster, but it's not great either, that's why I say, what's going on here, okay? All right, Ron, what do you think about this idea? They're calling it the Odyssey for modern times. It's a parable of today, which, by the way, I think means they don't know what parable means. But anyway, go ahead, Ron. What are your thoughts on the modern messaging of the Odyssey?
It's just stupid. I'm sorry, but it's just stupid. It's the Odyssey. It's classic Greek literature. Why would you even want to try to compare it to modern times? It doesn't make any sense. That means you have to twist and turn and spin the story so that it has a very particular narrative that you want for the audience that you're going for. But again, that's not the general audience. And to be honest with you, like, I just haven't had any interest in this film from the beginning, mostly because even in whatever it was, the Brad Pitt movie, these type of movies based on history and those, they don't really appeal to me. If they're more mythological like the Greek gods, then they absolutely do. I don't think there's that much of that in the Odyssey, but I don't know if you played this or not, but I had watched that earlier with Alan. One of the things I also said about this, and you're to the point about making it modern, is apparently the accents of the characters as they speak
Oh, yeah.
is like a more modern accent than
Modern
takes you out of
Midwestern
the film.
American, and instead of saying to the gods, you go, or to Hades, they say things like blank off, that kind of stuff.
That's stupid. That's
By the way,
it's
this is
ridiculous.
breaking during the show. This is breaking right now, so we're going to go to it because this is literally happening as we speak. Remember what I told you we would not put on the screen because I thought they would come after us? They're going after people. They're going after people on X. Stephanie at My Nerdy Home says, when the memes become real, what she had posted here is the recording, I believe. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty darn sure. This was going around everywhere on X, and it's the scene of the artist formerly known as Paige running around as a soldier, as a Greek soldier, and it's just unbelievably silly. Well, now it says this media has been disabled in response to a report by the copyright owner. So we've got this being taken down now, but I want to show you what's happening. Scribelight, when this was posted, said the breadsticks have returned to Olive Garden.
Yes.
Ready Rocksteady says they are striking down the footage. You can see here, watching Ellen Page run, it's taking me out. So it turns out she did replace Achilles. What's going on? Media disabled. Loki says looks like crap, but also notice the horses are making that clopping sound while on sand.
You mean the coconut shells from Monty Python?
Exactly. People are posting, I have no words. If you saw it before it was taken down off X, it's just ridiculous. It's just absolutely as silly as you would imagine it would be. I mean, it doesn't work, right? We posted this the other day. Imagine if there was a Wilt Chamberlain film starring Peter Dinklage. Like it doesn't work.
Well, the other thing, I haven't seen the film, obviously, but I did read the rather extensive review in Variety. And their claim on why it's brilliant is that it's a parable showing the futility of all wars. Well, gosh, I guess that means what? We shouldn't have done anything in Europe in those two big things called wars? Because
shouldn't have stopped those Yahtzees. Just let them be.
Futile. Exactly.
Yeah.
And if that isn't contemporary politics coming through, I don't know what is. Now, I don't know that was Nolan's intent, but that's what they say.
I mean, that is absolutely, totally, insanely illogical. The idea that every war is futile because sometimes you're forced into. I mean, that's like saying every fight because a war is just a fight at scale. Every fight is futile. It's like no, if someone's going to harm your child, I guarantee you, if you have any morality in your bones whatsoever, you're going to do whatever it takes to stop that from happening, including fighting if you need to.
But look at that and think about what's going on in the UK right now, where people who fight back against being attacked are being told they're the aggressors.
Yep.
So if we're raising a society to say never fight back, what we're doing is surrendering.
So they're trying.
People.
They're doing everything they can right now to stop this. Flash post this. This was the same thing. This was the scene I was talking about. Her being half his size rips the immersion away instantly. Scribelight says, "Good golly, Damon's delivery is flatter than." Oh boy, Scribelight, don't say that. Oh my gosh, you leave Brie alone. She's on a comeback tour, I tell you.
Oh.
But what Flash is talking about, I mean, is the idea that Elliot Page is going to fight Matt Damon and win is just, it's ludicrous. It's like watching Muggsy Bogues try to beat Shaquille O'Neal. It doesn't work.
Must say that every review I've read from people who loved it or hated it have complimented Matt Damon, saying it's one of his best performances ever. But what was that one that you read that said this is Nolan's best since Dunkirk? So we're leaving Oppenheimer out of that equation, are we? I see.
That's a good, interesting, isn't it, considering where it's coming from? Absolutely. Lauren, so they are rapidly trying to scrub these leaks that will damage the film. If, in fact, Elliot Page is playing the character analogous to Achilles and is beating up all the other soldiers, that's just going to be silly. Your thoughts, Lauren, on the scrub attempt happening right before our eyes? Lauren, you're muted, but the symbol doesn't show you're muted. Oh, no. We've lost Lauren.
Oh.
What
now
will
it
happen?
shows muted.
How's
Now
that?
it does.
Hey,
Yeah,
tell
there
us your
you
thoughts,
go.
Lauren.
Okay. So I want to be as fair to this as I can because, as people have said, haven't seen the movie. What we've been reacting to so far is what we've seen of the marketing campaign and how we think that Nolan is adapting this thing. So the character that Ellen is playing is Sinon, who is not in the Odyssey or the Iliad, but is from the Aeneid, which is a Roman retelling of those two stories that is sort of a placeholder from Achilles. And for what I've seen in the chat, it sounds like that's the role that she is filling there. So it is sort of an Achilles replacement. That again goes to the faithfulness of the adaptation, though. And what I don't have experience with is, I think her name is Emily Wilson, her adaptation of the Odyssey. Did she then pull from the Aeneid, or is this a novel invention that is being pulled in from Nolan for some reason? Mostly what we have been arguing against is the authenticity of the vision here. This is not an adaptation. This is an interpretation of some kind. My question is, whose interpretation is it? Is it Emily Wilson's, or is it Christopher Nolan's? And either way, I think that should be disclosed in the title. Now, what I've heard from the reviews of this thing so far seems to indicate that it has excellent cinematography and it's pretty much boring. I'm hearing it's not the worst thing ever, but that's damning with faint praise, you know, and we're seeing from the critics that you would expect, they're all praising it because they have an agenda to push let's say a heavy hitter in Hollywood to protect. And if this goes against Nolan, I think it's going to be his first real big black eye. So they have a vested interest in making sure that the Odyssey succeeds in one manner or another. Now, if it turns out that we watch this movie and we enjoy it, I'll be the first to say, you know what, I liked that. But everything so far that I have seen has told me that, no, you're being pretty hackish about this. You're trying to claim that this is an interpretation for the modern age, but that shows contempt for your audience. And I think that's the main thing that we have been complaining about, is that you're claiming we wouldn't understand the high elevated speech, that we wouldn't understand the classical references, and somehow trying to pour a message into it that appeals to the modern day. That's not what somebody goes to the Odyssey for. We're not there to read a message for the modern day. We're there to see an epic that is a historical myth. If you're not adapting that, you may as well make it a satire.
Well, let me show you one example of a review that I just find fascinating and who's going to enjoy this. Hannah Strong, who I've never heard of before, but probably a great person, writes for a website called Little White Lies. See if this fits for the Odyssey. A Greek foundational story that is one of the building blocks for the hero's journey and storytelling for thousands of years. The richness of the Odyssey is found in its metatextuality, both as a translation of Homer's text and as a translation from word to image. Increasingly, the value of words is decimated. A film like this seems to emphasize their importance more than ever. 5 out of 5. I don't even know. Those are all English words, but here's the actual review, okay? A magnificent feat of storytelling. I want to scroll down to how she starts this off, because a lot of this is just blah, 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 okay? Nolan begins his story with rapper Harmony Korine Muse Travis Scott, who wrote and performed the theme song for Tenet with Ludwig Göransson. It's the sort of flourish that smacks of hip English teacher. Hey kids, what if I told you Shakespeare was the original Eminem? But if it gets the kids interested in ancient Greek oral tradition, maybe that's okay. And thus we go.
Wait. You get the kids interested in ancient Greek oral tradition by totally ignoring ancient Greek oral tradition and making it contemporary. That's how it works. I see.
Get rid of the Greeks. Make sure they don't have a chance to speak in the film.
He would never say this, but if his excuse when it's all said and done is, I don't know, it's all Greek to me, we will at least understand.
That's right. It's yet again, it smacks of the Hollywood problem we've talked about in the past. Snow White, they had to be inclusive, and inclusive meant for Snow White, that came out last year. Inclusive meant no dwarfs allowed, right? So exclude the dwarfs. We don't, people make fun of dwarfs with people with dwarfism. Don't let dwarfs on the screen. and therefore will exclude every single dwarf actor who would get their big chance.
You would
and
think
this is
they
the
would
same
exclude
thing.
the gods in this case because they don't believe in that either.
Well, they'd love to play all those though. They do every day. So the idea here is don't let a Greek person in. Don't it's not about Greek or Western culture. Let's start this thing off with a wrap. That's what we need to do. Folks, that's a wrap for right now until we get the review out. It's going to be out the day of opening, Thursday, 10 p.m. or 9 p.m. I'll let you know. Depends on timing, but we'll get the review out for the Odyssey. Is it an oddity? Is it one battle after another 2.0? And will we go as low as Film Threat? We'll let you know, folks. But honesty, that's what we're about right here. And you have much to say, so we will put it on the screen. Rubate for 2, Australian, I believe. Academy Awards predictions for the Odyssey. Yes, I believe they will. I think this is baked into the cake. They are going to have the artist formerly known as Paige receive at least a nomination for Best Male or Best Supporting Male Actor. You guys think that's what's going to happen here?
What if they gave an Oscars and nobody came?
I wouldn't make a prediction about what the awards are for, except for I'm sure that they will put it up for an award for cinematography and possibly best screenplay or adaptation. But when it comes to best actor, actress roles, things like that, I wouldn't hazard a guess.
Well, let me ask you this, okay? You all tell me. If this scene that leaked, that somebody photoed, they captured it, oh my gosh, it's here on this. Oh, I found it again. Oh my gosh, we can't play it. I'm not going to put it on there. I'm not going to put it on there. Okay. And guess what else? Apparently the scene is from the first 5 minutes of the movie. Okay, but I'm not going to put it on the screen. We will get taken down for it, so I won't. Guys, lost my train of thought for the minute just because it appeared there. If this was positive for them, found it. If this was positive for them, do you think they would let it sit there on X and trend and people like it and share it since it's a scene from the first 5 minutes? And do you think they're taking it down because it's damaging, or do you think they're taking it down?
I think they're taking it down because they don't want to encourage people to videotape anything in the theater because that's copyright infringement and that's wrong.
Sure.
So my question is this: with a film that's gotten this much pre-publicity, how many people do you suppose are on the let's scour the internet to get rid of stuff like this squad somewhere in a dark room with a bunch of monitors? There's got to be weeks ago they set this up to go through and police this stuff. They had to, just in self-defense.
Well, Smash JT is saying this, and I've seen this. So Smash JT says that a local theater he's looking at
Poway, that's San Diego area.
8 total tickets sold for a showing. Now, I think this is going to do extremely well with IMAX. But I'm hearing the same thing, that if it's not at IMAX, these theaters are empty. I don't know what this is going to do. This is so interesting to me because the mainstream media is calling this at $1 billion. They're saying that it's going to be Oppenheimer 2.0. I think it might go like one battle after another. I think they may get a black eye out of this. What do you guys think?
I think it'll do really, really well for the first couple days. I really do.
Yep, I do too.
Because first of all, they've pre-sold a lot of tickets. And second of all, people are curious. The question is, what do they tell their friends Monday morning about what they did over the weekend? That's always the question.
I'd actually be willing to give it the benefit of the doubt of having good box office because I think people generally like Christopher Nolan, and I think they may be hungry to see an epic. But even absent all the things that we're talking about, one of the things it's going to have to contend with is its 3-hour runtime.
Yep.
That's going to chase some people away, and it's going to limit the number of tickets you can sell. So I think it's got some headwinds against it.
And as we've said, folks, we're not trying to be mean to this movie, but it's going to go up against Spider-Man in 2 weeks. And Spider-Man is going to take every theater because Spider-Man, after what they've dealt with Mando and Supergirl and Animal Farm, and I mean, this is the winner. And every cinema owner knows Spider-Man is the winner. Like it is, we're not wondering, will it make $1 billion? It's like, how far north of $1 billion does it go? And that's the other problem for the Odyssey is when Spider-Man swings in, everybody who owns a theater is going to say, what can we do to support this?
Swings in. I saw what you did there. As the saying goes.
spider
when it
senses
weaves
tingling.
its web of intrigue and
That's right. All right, fall hard for 5. How much to make Jonas watch something like Evil Dead, the good one with Bruce? I don't know, but you can tempt us. You can tempt us, and we'll see what we can do. Duct tape will work. Sean Tower for 50. 50, thank you. Hoping and praying Odyssey collapses worse than Supergirl. It can't. Okay, let me just say, you sent in 50, and you want me to be supportive. But come on now. I mean, math is math, and logic is logic, and you can't go lower than the lowest there is. I mean, Supergirl, if it does worse than Supergirl, I don't know. We'll save this super chat. We'll put it back on the screen, and I will fall before you and beg for your forgiveness.
I like Limbo as much as the next guy, but that's how low can you go? It can't go that low.
That's right. Well, the dismantling of Western lore and culture, pure Rossism has gotten out of hand, and the complete destruction of Nolan's hate-filled slop will restore my belief in humanity. I do think that there's a possibility it underperforms significantly starting with the second weekend. I don't think it can be as bad as Supergirl because, and Moana, oh my gosh, Moana's down there with Supergirl. It's almost impossible. It's almost impossible. Doug is out there. Wilkerson, that is, remember for 19 months. Keep fighting the good fight, brother. You guys rock. But we only rock because of you all, folks. We never forget you are the gigawatts that makes everything possible. The dream to stream comes true because of you.
1.21 gigawatts! 1.21 gigawatts!
We've got John for 5. Go ahead, Ron.
Oh, I was just going to say, I don't know if any of you guys, if somebody's put it up in the chat too. I play Rocky. The trailer for that came out today.
Oh, yeah.
And to me, it looked good.
When does that come out? I saw the trailer too, and I'm very
excited.
excited.
It comes out in November.
No way.
And it coincides with the 50-year anniversary of the movie Rocky coming out.
No, wait. Godzilla Minus Zero comes out in December, right? Or does it come out in November? I think it comes out in November.
There's a similar time slot, but it could be a really good month for movies.
No. Man, I can't wait for November. Okay, I love me some summer, so don't get me wrong. I'm staying here in summer and happy. But, to get to do some positive reviews, boy, bring that on. And maybe we'll get to do so with Spider-Man.
Thanksgiving will not have turkeys at the movie theater?
No turkeys allowed at the cinemas this time.
By the way, that would mean 2 movies with Rocky have been great this year.
Amaze. We've got John for 5. I heard the audio issue is because they shot in IMAX only for the first time ever, and apparently the cameras are noisy. I doubt that's the issue.
No. The cameras are noisy, except that they're not, because they're in what we call Barneys or blimps. They're in a big box that keeps the noise in, just like good old original first time ever sound movies were back in the day.
Lou, it sounds like you know a few things about cameras, huh? We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, I've seen a few in my day.
Played with a 3D camera ever, Lou?
Yes, actually. Didn't I ever tell you about that?
You did.
On a certain show that I did, they decided to do an all 3D night where they were handing out the glasses at 7-Eleven. And the guys showed up with the special 3D camera from Panavision, where it was born, that camera. And I'm watching these guys try to put this camera together for the first time. And they literally are holding this exploded diagram of the parts. And they're looking and shaking their heads. And now they turn it around, and then they turn it around, and then they turn it around. And I'm thinking, this is not going well.
Well, when they start flipping off the instructions, that's when you know.
Yeah, I mean, it was, oh, boy, classic. Actually, I saw a meme today that said the feeling of accomplishment is when I fix something without watching a YouTube video. So,
that's right. Paggy Protons for 5. Lots of odd news out there tonight, like this one. The FCC considers proposal requiring government ID for Americans to receive cell service.
No, it doesn't.
Packing, we got to check where you're looking. You got to get off some of those websites. Go to that Park Place. We're telling the truth over there. Anthony, member for 21 months. Any live filming from the meetup this weekend? We will be doing some filming. Live is a different question. We have to get there. We have to check the internet connections, and then we'll let you know. We would like to do so, but we can't guarantee live at this time just yet. So let us check the technicalities first. Patrick Genoway, and by the way, the reason is if we promised you live right now and we said, hey, Pro Show live with the live audience Friday night, 6 p.m., we'll be there streaming. That would be a huge disappointment if we said that and you all try to join and it's like roboting and choppy. And we want to give you a good experience. So let us make sure that's possible first. Patrick Getaway for 5. It's a pity. It's a pity. I pity most of Monty Python is no longer with us. A Monty Python version of the Odyssey would be an absolute riot. I agree. Maybe Shrek can slip in some Odyssey parodies. They got time. They're still working on that.
I'm just imagining Elliot saying, "I blank in your general direction."
Oh, no. Oh.
Except he shoots low because he's short. Anyway.
Kaylee out for 5. They want to praise those dead names in the Odyssey. Make the Iliad. Just make the Iliad, right? You could. You should. Well, with different folks.
Well, be careful what you wish for, because one thing to be said about the 3-hour running time is that other people who make movies that are 3 hours long say, no, wait, let's split it up, shoot a little more, and make a trilogy. Right. And if the first one dies, the others never live. So there is that.
E. Charles for 10 says, have you seen Jeremy John's review yet? He said it is awesome-tacular. I usually like his take on films. Your thoughts? Well, I usually also agree with Jeremy Johns, and I respect him a lot. What I would say is that what we're calling out, let me see if I can put this up on the screen again. Give me just a second, folks. What we're calling out, if I can get it up on the screen. Okay, here we go. And it is dropping now. What we're calling out is 96%, and some of these reviews saying it's the greatest movie ever, blah, 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 blah. When we've got Jeremy Johns saying what he's saying, and we've got Film Threat saying what they're saying, I think it's going to be a little bit of a complicated film. That's my suspicion. I suspect that I'm going to come out of the theater tomorrow, and I'm going to say, this is there's a lot to this. The casting is weird. There are strange cameos. Maybe the audio issues will be there, but maybe in the end I'll say, but it's an epic tale, and you can tell, even if I disagree with some things, that he's taking massive artistic leaps, and who knows, maybe I'll get a 6, a 7, an 8. I don't know yet. But what I don't believe is that this is the greatest film ever, and as it was when it started off, 98, 97%, I don't think that's the case, and I think that starts to look like One Battle After Another 2.0. So that's what gives us pause. But much love and respect to Jeremy Johns, absolutely. Neo for 2, Emily Wilson's version is a feminist version, and that's what this is based on. Cyrano is out there for 5, to paraphrase a line from another movie. You went full... How do I pronounce this, guys? Aeonid? It's Aeonid, right? You went full Aeonid. Never go full Aeonid. Besides, you ain't ever beating Pitt as Achilles. We've got Albert Not a Retro for 10. I've heard the European cut of Helen Slater's of Supergirl is better than the North American version. At least Super Slater is pleasant and someone you'd want your kids to admire. And does not eat the back end Bohiny bugs droppings as candy. Who'd have thought that's not popular?
Like I said, she was charming in it. She's a lovely lady. And the movie couldn't have gotten any better in Europe because it was just plain bad.
Oh. So. We've got John for 5. 50-year anniversary of Rocky. No way. I'm not that old, darn it. Adrian. I love Rocky. I love Rocky. I love Rocky 2. I love Rocky 3. I love Rocky 4. I love Rocky Balboa. And we don't have to talk about some of the other things.
And Rocky and Hail Mary.
Amaze.
Rocky Balboa.
Yeah, the movie.
Yes.
Oh, that's okay. Controversial take. That's my favorite of the franchise. I think Rocky Balboa is better than the original Rocky.
I agree.
Oh my gosh, I was not expecting that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Ron, Lauren, what do you guys think about that? What's the best Rocky movie? I think it's Rocky Balboa. Lauren, you're muted again.
Yeah, I was just saying, you didn't need to hear that part. 1 and 2 are, I would put Rocky Balboa up with 1 and 2. I don't know if I could choose between them. To me,
I'll
they're
tell
all
you this. Rocky 1 is not a great movie, except the last 10 minutes makes it a great movie.
I don't agree with that.
Okay.
I actually think that 1 and 2 are both just incredible films. I actually saw Rocky 2 first, and later saw the first one after that. To me, all 3 of those are darn near perfect films, and I am very excited about this film coming out. I knew that they were making one, but the trailer exceeded all of my expectations. He nails Stallone's voice, and some of the scenes is like some of the shots. it looks like they took it right out of Rocky. I couldn't tell. It's like this looks like it was lifted straight out of the movie.
Wait a minute. Might this be akin to Michael, where we go and we see it and we say, "Oh my gosh, how did you do this?" It's like we've stepped back in time again.
I wouldn't bet against it. I was thoroughly impressed by the trailer.
Talk about something that was completely off our radar. Suddenly, there we are.
I can tell you what my favorite line from any Rocky movie is. I think it's Rocky 2. It is where Rocky's talking with I can't remember who he's talking with, but he goes, Rocky, making some money now. You probably should think about investing. What do you think about condominiums? And Rocky's like, I never use them.
It is a great line. I forgot about that. I thought, in all seriousness, I think the speech he gives in Rocky Balboa is one of the best things you can play for a young man growing up. It's not about how hard you get hit. So, folks, we'll see how this goes. And I'll tell you this too: Seth Rogen recently really attacked Sylvester Stallone, attacked Sly. And I am not expecting that there will be a documentary about Seth Rogen unless it's to talk about brain cells being lost by certain activities by him. Packing Protons for 5. I have a 3D camera if you want a Pro 3D show. It's a Sony model. Somewhere I have a 3D camera. I'd have to go through and see if I can find it. I've got one of those, what do you call it? The 360, the full all-around 3D cameras. Haven't used it much. I thought it would get more use in certain ways, but it hasn't been so. Mike D is out there.
I have a 3D slide camera from back in the day.
This is going to be the point where Lauren steps in and says, "I've got what is it? The Vision Finder? Is that what they were?
Viewmaster.
Viewmaster. That's right. Tell us about your camera, Lou."
Oh, well, back in the day, you can look this up. I'm trying to think of the name of it, but I've got it somewhere. And you used to take pictures with it, and it took it's 2 lenses, and it took 2 images on a roll of regular 35 millimeter slide film. And when you sent it off to be processed, it came back as a slide about the same size as these 3D glasses you get in the store. And you put it in a viewer and pushed a button, and the light came on behind, and you could see it 3D.
Oh, neato.
Yeah. Yeah, my father was really into that stuff. So,
I've often thought they ought to bring back the little Viewmaster devices, because there was something about those. There was a unique aesthetic that those delivered that I don't think you can replicate. It's really kind of weird, honestly.
Well,
but
I seem to remember a thing you put on your record player that had mirrors, and the records themselves had little animated, like a flip book. And as it spun, you could see the animation happening in the mirrors and this spindle that sat on top of the record in the middle of the player.
I see Ron.
You're nodding like you remember those, Ron.
Yeah. No, I remember. But I also had a 3D 35 millimeter camera, 4-lens. And when you sent the pictures off to be developed, what would come back to you is, I don't know if you've ever seen those 3D postcards that have kind of like a grooved film over the top of them, and then they kind of create a 3-dimensional image that you don't need glasses to look at. This particular camera did that, and so I have a few rolls from the past that actually got developed, and you can see the pictures in 3D without any glasses, but they're kind of a fuzzy type of look to them.
Oh, they're still around. I'm looking. It was called Stereo Realist.
Oh.
The camera.
The other thing, I can never remember the name of these, and I don't mean to sidebar too long, but the devices, Lou, I guess they're the precursors to jukeboxes, but they have all the instruments inside.
Oh, what were they called? Soundies or something-ies.
Do you guys know what is the technical term for these things? Jonas would know it immediately, but they're these boxes. They're like jukeboxes, but they have cymbals and banjos and like all the instruments are in there, and it plays it automatically.
Oh, well, that's a band organ. There's one at Disneyland.
Well, so Jonas took me to a place that had, so many of these things in perfect, pristine working condition. They kept it. And I just thought that was.
Well, I own a player piano from the 1920s, and what's interesting about it is, if anyone has ever seen a player piano, it's a paper roll with a bunch of little holes, and it goes past a bar where suction tells it which to then actuate as far as the keys on the piano. Right. Well, that means that when you cut one of those, I own the maple leaf rag, and the original roll was cut by Scott Joplin. So it's literally Scott Joplin's fingers are playing my piano.
Oh my gosh.
So that's kind of fun.
Lou, you
but
have
then
so
what was
many
also
cool
funny
things.
was that they had the lyrics on them. And I have one for the theme song from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And over on the side, you can read the lyrics, rip, rup, and all those crazy noises that they made in that theme song. So.
Well, one day, without giving too much away, we need to talk about some of the cool, should be in a museum kind of things that you have at your home. I mean, that's just
belongs in a museum.
Not you, though. Not you. You belong right here.
Someday I'm getting there.
Mike D for 501 says, my long Odyssey is over and I've made it home to the Pro Show. Folks, that's what we love. That's what we want. We want it to feel like home. You know, we cover bad news sometimes, but we do it with a smile on our face. We do it with fun. Frivolity, they say, is the middle name of everybody here on the panel. Lorne Frivolity
want it to feel
Connors.
like a 10-year journey. So
No, of course not. KB Hugs for $4.99. Don't know if it's come up yet, but how much money to bet on odds that the Odyssey gets a casting Oscar? And is it a stretch to know why? Checkbox award. That's what it's all about. It's going to get one battle after another kind of stuff. But I really do believe that Paige is going to get a nomination for Best Supporting Actor. Get ready.
We know it's going to get a Director's nom and also a Director's Guild nom. And how I know is I just got my Director's Guild guide. We're doing two screenings at the Hollywood headquarters.
I love how people will say, well, yeah, that Lou guy, he's just making it up. He's not really, and then you drop things like that.
Well. But I mean, it's a 600 theater, and I've never seen them do two in the same day of the same movie that way. But
right.
So that tells you at least the demand. Of course, the fact that he's currently the president of the guild has something to do with it, but still.
Albert, not a retro for 5. Rocky 2 is my favorite. I love the comeback of number 3. I love Mr. T in that one. Rocky got an Oscar for Best Screenplay, so how could it be bad? Rocky 2 humanized Apollo. It did a really cool move there. I agree. I love
it would have meant
training.
Nothing without his performance.
That's right.
He was so wonderful.
That's right.
So wonderful.
We've got Packing Protons for 10. Lou, yes, I had one. It had a TV screen and an image of what was happening appeared on the TV screen. I remember listening to Sesame Street and Tiger Hunt on it.
Tiger Hunt.
There you go. Thank you, Packing Protons. You've been so kind tonight, and we really do appreciate you. Paul 12,000 for 2 says, Best Rocky, Rye or the Kaiser, it's the thrill of the bite. We've got Packing Protons for 2. Pro ask Ron if he DJ'd at WPRB 1984. Ron?
I don't think that's me, Ron. I think that's Coleman. He's in the chat.
No. Ron, this
so
is
I
for you.
Definitely didn't
Ron.
DJ anything when I was 12 years old.
Ron, let's not lie, okay? Let's not fake the ages. We know you were at WPRB 1984. Is Ron Coleman out there? What's he say?
I was at WKRP in Cincinnati in 1984.
Ron says, you know the answer to that, Packing. Good to see you out there, Ron. Let me see if I can grab you up on the screen real quick. There you go. Ron Coleman out there. Folks, we gave a shout out to Ron, and he snuck away the other day. Ron Coleman, that is. We were trying to pull up his July 4th post where he talked about the history of his family and coming to America. If you have not had a chance, folks, go to Ron Coleman's X feed and go read the journeys of his family trying to get to a place such as the US of A, where protection is here, respect can be here, and the freedoms and joy that we enjoy. Folks, go read it. It's wonderful, and I think you'll come away with a greater appreciation of Ron Coleman. All right, last super chat, and before we hit the next story, we've got blah, 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 blah for 5. The old player pianos were the original punch card analog computers. I bet Lou has an old IBM 028 hanging out somewhere.
No, but I did punch cards once upon a time. I had an older friend who was a computer whiz who was at UCLA, and he said, you want to come punch cards one day? And I was probably 14, 15, and I went over there and had a grand old time.
What did you make with your punch card, Lou? What'd you get
I have
to do?
no idea. I just did what he told me to do. But
I imagine that you guys made the first emoji somehow. You guys did something that made it put out a equal sign and a little parentheses mark. You said, we did it.
Barry Manilow stuff. I am the first emoji, and I made the very first card. I don't know.
I said it was the last, but folks, we can't leave Staccato.
The cards that make
Staccato taking us halfway to the 50 mark. When you think Staccato for $9.99, Nolan sold out to make this version, but I'd like to believe he could have made a good pick if left to his own devices.
It was his own devices, and Nolan doesn't sell out. He does what he does, and whether we like it or not is another story. But he's a very dedicated guy. The only sad thing for me is if this thing stinks as bad as it apparently does.
Maybe
what a movie for Falls Lake to go out on, because that was the last thing they shot on there, and they're supposedly tearing it down to add more theme park to Universal in Hollywood. So
there you go.
Well.
All right. Well, folks, we have to say goodbye to one of our panelists before we get into the next segment. Ron, Father Bradley's Fun, is done for the night. He is prepping. He is preparing. Redundant, maybe? For Southeast Game Exchange. And Ron, we're going to have a great time over there. It's in Greenville, South Carolina. You're going to be one of our folks who's going to be meeting and greeting and shaking hands, kissing babies if babies appear. Ron, what are you excited most about this? What are you going to be doing?
It's just for my big excitement is, of course, seeing everybody there again, seeing you and everybody, Wiz, whoever's going to make it. I think Critical Drinker is going to be there.
Yeah.
And the whole, Marv, everybody. It's going to be fun to meet up with everybody. And I've never been to Greenville, South Carolina before. I've been other places in South Carolina. But,
I can't believe this, Ron. I thought you had been everywhere.
I thought I had too, and I
thought you'd done everything.
There. Right? Nope,
Ron, do you know that when I drive by places, establishments, and I see things that I've never done before as a job, I sometimes think, I bet Ron did that.
Yeah. It's what's funny is there's what is it in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. I remember driving through there a few years after I did Joseph, and they when we closed our Joseph showdown, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat in Branson, it got all of our sets, all of our costumes, everything got purchased by the company that then brought it to Pigeon Forge. And it was funny seeing the billboard for that and going, "Hey, that's my costume. It's on somebody else."
That's right. That's me. That could have been me up there. I could have been a contender. Yeah. All right. Well, Ron, let me before you go, have you ever been a delivery driver?
Yes.
I knew it. Ron, have you ever worked in a pizzeria?
Yes, many times.
It's okay, Rod. You can just say yes. You don't have to.
I worked at 3 different Domino's. That's why I said that.
Hang on. Ron, okay, so far we're 2 out of 2. Ron, have you ever been a puppeteer?
Technically, yes.
That's the best kind of yes, Ron. All right, before you go.
Obviously, he can't hold a job.
You look at his resume and say, "Sir, it appears you've worked many jobs for 3 days each." All right, Ron, how were you a puppeteer before you go?
I was in a show called Celebrate American Branson, and one of the things that I had to do in my role, run around backstage, and we had a scene that very much mimicked the Country Bears Jamboree bar, where they had heads on the wall, mounted heads of like a moose and a bear and whatever else it was, but they weren't animatronics, and they had to be puppeteered, and I was one of the puppeteers for those.
I see. Okay. It's not a bad idea. Fake animatronics, right?
Basically, yeah.
Basically.
Regarding 3 different dominoes, another meme I saw today was an actual photo of a real domino somewhere, and the marquee, it said, "Girls, girls, girls," and then it said, "Just kidding, only pizza." So it was brilliant. Just brilliant.
There you go. All right, Ron, we'll see you soon, a.k.a. in 2 days over at Southeast Game Exchange. Thank you, Ron.
You guys are going to
have a good night, everyone.
All right, and also we are getting a clarification out there for the terminology for all of our DJs, in case you need to know. Ron Coleman Law says air checks are recordings of your on-air shift, which you / management check to monitor your technique, etc., etc.
Yes, they are.
I would love to go back and hear how Ron portrayed himself as a DJ. Did he come on and say, "This is your DJ of the PM. It's Ron C, ready to bring you all the latest music you need"? Like, was he NPR-esque? Was it very Ladies and gentlemen,
I
this
did
is
it for a
Ron
while.
Coleman. I am ready to bring you the best in eclectic jazz tonight.
Yeah.
How did you do it, Lou? What was your DJ style?
They had a thing at Northwestern University for allegedly smart high school kids called the Cherub program. And I worked their radio station every night, which was interesting in summer in Evanston, Illinois, in heat like we're having now, because it was in the basement of the speech building, but you couldn't open the windows because their theater in the Park Theater was on that side of the building. So you sat there in 110 degrees and 90% humidity on top of a whole lot of electrical things that would kill you if you touched the wrong thing, and played records all night long. And that was fun, but you wound up running out of things to do, and you wound up doing what they used to call EBS tests. This is a test of the emergency broadcast system.
Sure.
Over and over and over just to kill the time. But it scared the crap out of me that I was going to electrocute myself by touching the wrong thing with all that humidity and my own sweat. So that's my little DJ story.
Hey, Lou, you've sent me an image that you want me to show for one of our members of the audience.
Please do.
You want to put that on the screen right now?
Sure, why not? Ron, this is for you, my friend, my Landsman.
Now,
what do you think of this?
I apologize. Wait, I can zoom in. Okay, let's see. Here we go. There we go. Ron Coleman, that one is for you. You must be special when you show up and you get images shared with you just because you're there. There you go,
we're both
folks.
members of the same tribe, So
the Yiddish electric car.
Oiga Volt.
Oh, my. All right, folks. We will come back in just a few to more of your super chats. We love to see what you have to say, but before we do so, to add to it, oy vey, it's going to be a bad time for Star Wars. I thought we were done. Lauren, I really did. I thought we were done with Mando. Did you think we were done with Mando?
No, I knew that we'd be talking about it once they figured out how they were going to release it, and that's what we're talking about, so here we are.
Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, the Disney company is rushing The Mandalorian Grogu into digital release. Oh my, before the summer is even over, here comes little baby Grogu. And why? Well, I'll tell you in just a second, okay? We've heard something that might be pushing Disney to get it out quicker rather than later. This is by Tom Power. It's being featured over on Tech Radar. The Mandalorian Grogu's digital release date has been revealed. But I won't be able to see the new Star Wars movie on Disney Plus just yet, and neither will you, ladies and gentlemen. We'll explain. Here we go. It says when you purchase... No, we don't care about that. Here we go. It says The Mandalorian Grogu is heading to a TV screen near you very soon, but not on Disney Plus. On July 15th, Lucasfilm and parent company Disney announced the latest Star Wars movie will be available to watch at home starting July 21st, a Tuesday. If you didn't catch it in theaters, which many of you did not, most of you did not, or you've been waiting to rewatch it from the comfort of your couch, none of you are, then you'll be able to do so via numerous premium video-on-demand, PVOD as they call them, platforms in less than a week. You see here Star Wars posted, be the first to watch at home by Star Wars, Mando and Grogu on digital July 21st, and own it on 4K Ultra HD August 25th. It says, as for the services it'll land on, it's the usual suspects, Apple TV, Fandango, etc. But then it says, well, why is it not on Disney Plus? And we think we've got the answer to that, but hang tight. Here's what it says. If you're wondering why Mando and Grogu isn't coming to Disney Plus, one of the world's best streaming services yet, you're not alone. After all, it's been over 2 months since Pedro Pascal fronted Sci-Fi Adventure not only landed in theaters, but subsequently failed to meet expectations. Wouldn't it make sense to just drop the movie on Disney's primary streamer? So simply put, no. For one, releasing it on digital platforms first is a surefire way for Lucasfilm and Disney to continue making money. Is that part of what it's doing? Okay, it's doing that now, making money. Oh, who knew? It says, sure, adding it to Disney Plus's movie library might persuade some to sign up for the streamer to watch it. However, Disney is far more likely to bring in extra cash through rentals or permanent purchases than new Disney Plus subscriptions. And this gets to the crux of the matter, Lauren. They don't believe that Mando will get people to go to Disney Plus. And as a result, they're going to put it out at a cost to the third parties, probably contractually obligated. But here's the other part of it, Lauren, and I'll let you run because I know you know tons about this. But Lauren, we've heard that Supergirl is also going to be rushed to PVOD. And Supergirl is being rushed to PVOD, Premium Video on Demand. It's being rushed to that at the end of July, which is crazy speeds, but they got to get it out there. You and I have talked about that. I think Disney's strategy now is get this out onto Amazon before Supergirl. They literally don't want Mando to compete with Supergirl, and they don't believe if they put it on Disney Plus that anybody is going to subscribe to see this. I think that's what this is about. What say you, sir?
Yeah, I mean, they believe correctly. It's if they put it on Disney Plus, it's just one thing. No one's going to subscribe just to watch it, and if they do, it's going to be a minuscule amount. For those people who are already subscribed, it's not going to retain their subscription, and they don't make any money for the people who watch it. So they're trying to create some kind of a window where they get some additional level of profit from this thing. They've got kind of a staggered release where you've got the digital release for PVOD, you have it appearing on Disney Plus, and then in August it comes up on a physical copy that you can buy, which I think is the 4K Ultra format. One thing that's interesting is that they're releasing it 6 days earlier than what I had heard. The date that I was hearing for PVOD was on the 27th, and they're actually releasing it on the 21st. So they're eager to get this thing out here to try and maximize the possible window where they can make some money on it.
Right, because it is, it really is. It's done, right? This is just flat out done at the box office. And it should be, but we had made some predictions here on what we thought it would do, and we're ready to see how it finished out. And so I think I had predicted, did I say 335, Lauren? Was that my prediction for it?
I don't recall. It's been several weeks since we talked about it.
I think 335, it actually outperformed what I thought barely. 342, nowhere near breaking even. And if we look at where it is domestically in terms of what it's doing, this has been flatlined, golly, for 3 weeks. So it's doing nothing. It's still in some theaters. If we look down, how many are they playing in? Well, it's really not. 260. They've run this thing out.
Yeah.
So 260, it's flatlined now for 3 weeks. It's toast. So I don't disagree, Lou. It's time to get it out in the streaming, make the final few bucks they can, and call it a day. This is a huge loss. $800 million was the break even. 342 is where it winds up at the box office.
You have to wonder, though, if they start doing this with everything, or all of the major ones that are flops, which at this point is everything for them, at what point do you start basically telling people who bought Disney Plus because they wanted to see this stuff exclusively, you could see it nowhere else, we lied, go away? In other words, it's one thing to say it won't bring new people in. It's another thing to say that doing it this way will drive people away and people will drop their memberships. We shall see.
If this had been successful, Lauren, we would have anticipated that it would have had a big deal, maybe around Labor Day, come on to PVOD. And then we would have also, I think, been waiting for this to come out, around November onto Disney Plus as a big way to drive lots of views. This is essentially the substitute for season 4. This is season 4, and this is the finale of The Mandalorian as a series. I think this is kind of over now too. We may see Pedro Pascal play a part in some sort of cameo with Ahsoka, or some sort of bring it all together, end this thing, but I don't know where they go, and I don't know, is Grogu also a damaged IP now where, what do you do with that? Nobody's buying Grogu toys anymore either.
There's a lot there. I'm not sure which parts you want me to respond to.
Start with Grogu, and is that a merchandisable character anymore? And then let's go to what do they do with the characters now that you really can't make a movie and you really can't make a show?
I'd have to think about that a little bit more. I think Grogu is still a merchandisable character because you have the casual audience that's always going to buy Grogu merchandise. You have people who are not necessarily giant Star Wars fans, but they did fall in love with the show and with that character because he's cute. And so you're always going to have people that will buy Grogu knickknacks. Is that going to amount to a significant amount of sales? Probably not, but it'll always probably be a bankable character just because of the design. When it comes to movies or shows, I think the show is done because it's too expensive to produce. I think that you're right that The Mandalorian and Grogu will come back in some other form, likely in a later movie is my guess. They've already said as much that they do have plans for the character.
I got plans to be a trillionaire.
Well... I suspect they're already in production on something, is what I'm saying.
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
But is it going to be a major thing? Probably not. So it's difficult to say really where you go from here unless it's something like spin-off media, comic books and games and things like that. I think as a major draw for the TV show or movies, probably not.
I would disagree on one point, Lauren, and that is on the merchandise, because the big mistake they made, among many, was not to grow him up a little bit for this movie so they'd have two versions. The question isn't, will people buy one because it's cute? The question is, will people buy 2 or 3 or 4 as it evolves? And they haven't evolved it. So they've given up all of that possible merchandise revenue.
I agree with you on the fact that evolving the character would have been better because that would have gotten the diehard fans. I disagree with you on the casuals, and I'm taking this from actual casuals that I know who are not diehard Star Wars fans, don't really care about the universe as a whole, but anytime they see Grogu on a thing, they buy it. So I know that this demographic exists.
Well, okay, let me ask about this, though, Lou, in particular, your theory that not having another version of Grogu hurt them. That's actually what we heard years ago from some of our toy industry insiders who said that there was actually a meeting and the toy manufacturers and third-party partners, such as Hasbro, walked out furious because they were saying, I'm going way back in my mind here, but we covered this years ago. They wanted Luke Skywalker and Jedi Padawan Grogu because at least then they had a new holiday season of Grogu that was different than the past to sell. And Disney wouldn't give them that. They were determined, this is all you get, this version, and that's it, no more. And that seems to have absolutely cratered any interest in it.
It makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, look, how many, it's the Barbie process, right? Malibu Barbie, such and such Barbie, this and that Barbie, and people will buy more than one. It's the American Girls dolls where people will buy more than one because they have different variations on the theme. But if you just have the same little guy, as cute as he is, I don't need 12 and I don't need 3. And all right, there are some diehards who will buy. Yes, they are, Lauren, but I don't know. Cuteness only goes so far if it's the same cuteness.
Look, this is why I'm saying that they're not diehard fans, they're casuals. I'm talking about essentially wine moms who buy the socks and the earrings and things like this. It's a female portion of the demographic, but it taps into their maternal instincts and they'll coo over it and buy anything that there is, but it's a tiny part of the market. That's why it doesn't do anything financially, but they will buy the merchandise when it comes out. This is why you got the Bath and Body Works, the soaps and the lotions and all of that stuff. That's who's buying.
I would be shocked. I would be absolutely shocked if that was a successful campaign, having Bath and Body Works Grogu scented lotions, which they had. But I would be, I mean, honestly, if that sold well, I'm shocked.
Not that we'll ever get these stats, but the interesting comparison would be the, what was it? Was it Burger King or Wendy's or who had the Happy? It would be interesting to compare it to other similar campaigns they had with other movies and see which did better.
I don't think this one did well.
I don't think so either.
Real Life Fake Wizard told me the whatever the meal was, he tried it for his channel and it was like chemical garlic flavored burger. Like, woo! You couldn't even get that right. It's colored, it's food colored macarons. No, that's a French president. Folks, go on and see how badly this does. PVOD is now the last gasp for Lucasfilm and Star Wars when it comes to Mando, and then I think it's over. Sorry, Pedro, but you are not, in fact, Star Wars Peepaw. All right, folks, if Ron Coleman is still out there, he's welcome to join us. We've sent him the link. Ron, you're welcome to join in. We're going to be talking about Paramount, Skydance, Warner Brothers, Discovery. How many companies are there combined in this giant thing? Possibly leaving California real soon. So I think that's going to be a fun topic in just a minute. Hang tight, folks. We'll go there. Packing for 5. Ron Coleman Law. Don't go looking for my air checks. I heard Packing. He's been on the airwaves a few times, eh? Patrick Getaway for 10. The Player Piano inspired Hedy Lamarr. Do I have that right? Hedy Lamarr, and George.
That's
Headley. Headley. That makes more sense. I was at a loss for a minute. To develop the concept of frequency hopping, I used to type out punch cards when I took a course in Fortran in college.
Fortran?
I remember Fortran.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Nostalgia. Nostalgia.
How about that? Jason Nelson for 2. He might be hard to spot, but look for Kaida there. Where are you talking about? He's supposed to be on the show, but he's having huge internet difficulties while he's traveling, so he may not make it tonight. We've got Mello out there for 5. Jonathan Pajot of the Symbolic World liked the Odyssey. He says it's a reversal and a trick on audiences. Maybe I'll download it. Okay, well now that's okay. Let's talk about that then. Lauren, I think you were the one that theorized before that maybe Christopher Nolan's outsmarting everybody, and what happens is we get a film that is actually a statement about some of this modern retellings. What do you think? If Jonathan Pajot, who's he's about as deep a thinker when it comes to the symbolism and allegory of storytelling, if he likes it, maybe that's what's happening here.
Well, this was something that did occur to me because I don't think that Christopher Nolan's a dummy. And honestly, I think that Hollywood is in the mood to do some kind of a gotcha on the audience, and I think there's a number of people out in their own chat who do the same thing, who are telling us that we're shills for the other side who hate anything that is like this, and we haven't seen the movie, so we can't criticize it. And so this is a technique that they could use to capitalize on that. However, I think if that was what they were doing, then Chris and Alan probably would have said something about that. We're not going to know until we see it. My hunch, again, is that what we're going to see is probably... I never fault Nolan's cinematography. He always seems to compose a gorgeous frame. But I also kind of get the impression that it's going to be a little boring, a little flat.
Complicated.
And 3 hours. You're asking a lot of your audience there. So I'm willing to be surprised. I'm willing to give it a chance. But regardless of whether I like it or not, I'm not going to cut them any slack for their marketing campaign and the way that they framed this thing.
Marketing has been atrocious.
I think what they've done has been completely disingenuous, and I think that it has been caustic and snobbish, and I think it has revealed a lack of a particular kind of knowledge of history by the people that were involved, and that's not a good look when you're adapting something of this kind of importance.
I think the stunt casting has backfired badly for them. I think this went completely I think we're looking at an easy $1 billion if you change about 2 of these castings and if you have good interviews. Easy $1 billion, no doubt.
I'm going to bring up something that this movie was a flop. It came out last year. I'm curious if either of you have heard of it. Are you familiar with The Return?
I remember hearing about it, but I didn't see it.
Yeah, me too.
So that was last year's version of the Odyssey. However, it didn't tell the entire epic. It only picked up once Odysseus had returned to Ithaca.
Who was the lead in that, Lauren?
Ray Fiennes. And so I'm curious to see, after this movie comes out and is done, does The Return get a reevaluation? I'm wondering if people are going to watch it to see how it compares, because I suspect when it comes to faithfulness to the text, it's probably going to hit the mark a little bit closer.
All right, we've got Irate Specialist.
I don't think anybody cares. They want to go and have a good time. And the other interesting thing about this from the reviews I've read, because there's so much that goes on during those 10 years, they said that each of these individual events, whether it's Scylla and Charybdis or whether it's Circe, or they come in as like little episodes. And isn't that what we said about Mando and Grogu? That it was a bunch of pieces rather than a whole.
So I've got a picture. It's sitting on my monitor right now. Folks can't see it. I've got the picture. You have no idea how bad. I mean, because I'm so sick and tired. And this is what Ron Coleman was talking about the other day on the show. How silly it is that I can't put... This movie is now essentially released. I know, it's not official until tomorrow. I have a still image from this scene, which stars the actor known as Paige. And I want to put it on the screen so badly because I'm so sick and tired of not being able to just show you what we're looking at to say this is why we're concerned. But John Douglas on X posts, come on, Nolan, what are you thinking? And it's got the picture from the screen. Oh my gosh, it's so bad. It's so bad.
Is this
looks
the one
like
with
a
the
5-year-old boy
sort of thing?
No, it looks like a 5-year-old boy pretending to fight as a Greek soldier. It's too much. Come on. Anyway, we digress. All right, Irate is out there for member 28 months. What if they require a Disney Plus sub to buy the movie? Well, here's the thing you got to wonder about. If Disney was confident that Mando will make money, wouldn't they be selling it as a PVOD on Disney Plus? Wouldn't they have that system in place? You would think so. There were.
Yeah.
You got Packing for 5. Theory, Wall Street gets Disney to ditch Disney Plus. They're pushing for it big time right now. They do, but use Hulu to tout Disney Plus as a success, saying that is why the Plus is no longer needed to save face. I honestly, so there's two competing things here. I don't want to go too deep because I could do an entire segment, and maybe we will tomorrow. By the way, tomorrow we've got Eric Metaxas on the show. Going to be a really, really good show tomorrow. Tune in, folks. We're going to talk about the story of America and how the media has tried to contort and distort the history of America. So I won't spend too much time on this because I could do a full-blown story on it. But on one side, Wall Street wants Disney to develop a super app that has their theme park stuff, their streaming stuff, their Disney store, and a lot more on a single app that has synergy. And Lauren, I know you disagree with it. We've talked about it. It's pretty much out there now that it's in development. It's kind of leaked into the financial papers. And the other push right now is that streaming is sinking Disney. And we're going to talk about that part definitely tomorrow. So you've got these two competing things. How do you have a super app if you don't have streaming? I don't know the answer to that. And if you put all the Disney stuff on Netflix, if you make a deal with Netflix and you do you kill Disney Plus? Do you admit it's defeated? What do you do with that? You can't kill Hulu. There's no way you kill Hulu. You got too many partnerships with Hulu. And Hulu's doing pretty darn well. It's really complicated for Josh tomorrow. I expect in the next 12 months they will answer that. Packing for 5, Nolan made one almost perfect Batman Begins movie. I would also say The Dark Knight Rises is pretty darn good. And Interstellar. The rest is overrated. And I think I'll probably agree with that as well. Lauren, you're muted again.
I assume you meant The Dark Knight and not The Dark Knight Rises?
Yeah, you're right. Apologies.
Yeah.
That last word slipped on out there. You're right. We've got Winston for $4.99. The modern marketing strategy of crapping all over your target audience is an interesting choice. Well, Supergirl took it one step further and crapped right in the lead actress with a bohiny bug. Detail Devil for $1.99. My fave kombucha 50% off after Supergirl on label. Oh boy, you got us, Detail Devil. All right, folks, we are 31 out of 50 on the way to the Super Chat goal. If we hit, we'll do a special Q&A. Right now, what's on the way? Well, you have the right crew on this panel to talk about what's going on in Hollywood. Lou, we're going to lean on you big time because it turns out Paramount, Skydance, Warner Brothers, Discovery, whatever we're going to call this, CNN, whatever this giant company is going to be, Lou, they're getting ready to pack their bags and leave Hollywood land and go somewhere near and dear to you. Have you heard about that?
I've heard about it, but I heard about it that they bought some studio stuff in New Jersey, which I thought was sort of out of the frying pan into the fire in a way. But if they're coming here, that's another story.
Let's talk about it. Paramount, Skydance, Warner Brothers, CNN, Discovery, all of these things have been merged together, at least they're in the process thereof. The buyout is done, and now there's just a legal battle happening. California trying to stop Paramount, Skydance, and the Ellisons from getting hold of so much. And guess what, folks? If they are successful, and they will be, this company will be a rival to Disney truly in terms of size and being run by the second wealthiest family of legitimate means, the Ellisons. That Park Place is covering this. Tennessee is courting Paramount as Studio weighs future amid California legal battle. This is what's going down. Paramount is buying everything, and Paramount is saying, if you are going to crush us, California, if you're going to try to stop us, we're out of here. We're leaving, and California is doing just that. Paramount made the threat. California fulfilled what they said they were going to do. Now, will Paramount finish the threat? Will they fulfill what they said? Well, there's one state that is definitely in the running. It says Tennessee is making an aggressive play to lure Paramount Global away from California. And according to a new report from the Hollywood Reporter, the studio isn't dismissing the idea. As Paramount finds itself locked in an increasingly bitter legal and political fight with California, which I will add, there is no way California will win this. There is zero chance. This is California cutting off its nose to spite its face. This is California shooting itself in their proverbial feet because they can't stop this. They can only delay it. They can annoy. And guess what? If Paramount leaves, they are taking billions of dollars in economic input as well as taxes right out of the state. It says Tennessee officials have formally invited CEO David Ellison to relocate the company's corporate headquarters to the volunteer state. While no decision has been made, the mere fact that such conversations are reportedly taking place highlights just how uncertain Paramount's future in California has become. According to THR, Tennessee Deputy Governor Stuart McQuarter sent Ellison a letter on July 2nd encouraging Paramount to move its headquarters. The letter emphasized Tennessee's business-friendly climate, contrasting it with California's increasingly hostile regulatory environment. Quote, our success is rooted in fiscal discipline, low taxes, predictable governance, and a steadfast belief that government should be a partner in private sector growth. Companies that choose Tennessee find more than a favorable business climate. They find a state committed to helping them succeed. And of course, California, in response, filed with 12 other state attorneys general to squash Warner Brothers' buyout by Paramount. All right, Lou, is it okay if we say where you moved to after you left California? Is that
sure,
okay?
No problem.
Right.
Chattanooga.
So, Lou, you moved to Tennessee, and I think you've enjoyed the state. Lou, your thoughts now on a company this large leaving California potentially, and it may not be Tennessee. It may be Nevada. It may be New Jersey. I know you've been hearing things. But, Lou, what would this do to California? And would that perhaps be the catalyst for a bigger exodus where other companies begin to do what they're doing? And one more point, real quick, Lou. Elon Musk has already done this too. He took essentially the AI part of SpaceX AI, moved it out of California, and built the Colossus supercomputer in Memphis, Tennessee. So this is happening at scale. Your thoughts?
Well, you have to understand how the union deals work. You have to declare as a member of a Hollywood union your base. And the reason for that is if I'm officially Hollywood based and I want to work on a movie in Tennessee or Atlanta or anywhere, they have to pay me what's called distant location rates, which means they have to pay a per diem and they have to pay for hotels and they have to pay for whatever. And in the past, a lot of people have gotten around that, granted technically illegally, and not illegal as far as, going to jail, but as far as the contract, where they've said to people, listen, I can't afford to pay you all of that, but if you've got a friend or you rent an apartment and you just show up on the set on the day as a local, I'd be happy to have you on my show because you're experienced and you'll add to it. Well, what if this happens and that happens with a whole lot more people? We're not just talking about the company and its taxes and incentives and all that going away. We're talking about maybe 30, 40,000 people perhaps moving to wherever. Although,
how much economic impact, Lou?
Incalculable, because all those people are paying not just state income taxes, which are the highest in the nation, but property taxes if they own a home, and if they have a business. We saw all these businesses spring up in Atlanta for grips and for extras casting and all kinds of stuff when things started happening there. So that's a whole lot of people who will say, they said they're going to make 30 movies a year, and maybe I'd rather be making them there than here. Now, this doesn't mean they would necessarily sell the real estate in LA, although who knows down the road. But it certainly means that if their corporate headquarters is somewhere else, a lot of big shots are going to move. When I was way back when doing a show and Burt Reynolds built a studio in Florida, and people said, well, why aren't all these shows moving there? Because the taxes are better. And the answer came back, they didn't want to be out of the loop. In other words, granted, they could go do 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months in Florida on a series, but that meant, where's my next job coming from? Well, I'm not going to the parties and I'm not going to the restaurants and I'm not schmoozing with my pals to keep me in the loop. Well, if the pals move and you move too, no longer do you have that disincentive to getting out of Dodge. I always tell the story. Before we moved here, we were just visiting and checking it out, and we were in Nashville, and we were going to the Grand Ole Opry, which is something I recommend everybody do, regardless of whether you're a country music person or not. But anyway, we go to the Grand Ole Opry, and we're like 3 hours early, and it was right around this time of year, and it was hot. And across the street, so to speak, is this thing called Opry Mills with restaurants and shops and what have you. And in there, there's one of these Dave and Buster's. And I said, you know what? We're 3 hours early. It's too hot outside. Let's just go in there and have a snack and a cold drink and chill out. And we sit down, and this little waitress comes over. And she had to be all of, I don't know, 17, 18. And she says, hi, where y'all visiting us from today? I don't know how they knew we were tourists, but they assume as much. And I said, L.A., Hollywood. And she says, she freezes. I mean, like literally you stop time. And she says, are you in the industry?
I thought you were going to say, she said, oh, hold on a minute. I'm going to go get my portfolio.
Well, you're jumping on the punchline because that's exactly what happened. She says, wait right here. And she runs away. She doesn't even leave the menus. And I'm looking at my wife saying, what the hell? And she comes back with her headshot and her resume. And
I would have loved it, though. I would have loved it if she
I
had
always tell the story. I said, I felt like Al Pacino in Godfather 3 when he says, just when I thought I was out, they dragged me back in.
I would have loved it. I would have loved it, Lou, if she had
I was getting ready to leave, when I told friends in Hollywood and said Tennessee, they immediately said, oh, Nashville. And I said, no, it's already too much like L.A.
Oh.
So anyway.
I would have loved it if she had a, if the Southern accent was fake, for the tourist.
Yeah,
she
right,
was actually,
right.
That would have been even better. Right. All right, before we go to Lauren, Lou, you've lived in California, you've lived in Tennessee. There are other places that are being discussed for this. So you've got Nevada, you've got North Carolina, although I've not heard as much about North Carolina. Texas has been listed, and of course you're hearing perhaps something about New Jersey. Lou, what would you say in terms of states that might have the greatest chance here, or that you might suggest as should be on the best chance?
The ones we all know that are favorable to business, like Texas and like Tennessee and like Florida. So it's not those are those states that who was it? CNBC or somebody just made a list of the 10 worst states to live, and they were all red states because it didn't matter that they had lower taxes and cheaper cost of living and all the rest of it. By God, they're not as friendly to certain minorities or whatever, which is not true either. But
by whatever rubric they've invented, sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so Lauren, I'm curious what you think about if a company that's going to be now, a rival to Disney says, "See you, California." I wonder what that does to the state of California. Like, does that wake anybody up at that point? Or are we currently in a doom spin? I mean, are we just being flushed down? The Golden State cannot get out of this.
Depends on who you're talking about. I mean, I think it may already be too late for Hollywood to recover, and I think that folks in Hollywood have realized that. I think there's a real concern that it may become the next Detroit. On the other hand, you have insane government. It's the same problem that we have here in Washington with Seattle. You've got crazy people leading these states who apparently don't understand how economics work and don't understand where their taxes come from. So I think they're going to continue to try and tax and make it impossible for people to leave the state and try to tax people who are leaving the state. I think they're going to try everything that they can to squeeze as much money out of everybody as they can until those who can get out have, and the ones that are left are in a smoking crater. So you'll wake up the industry, but it's too late. What you need to do is replace your politicians, and until they have a completely non-functioning state, that's where you're at. You're in real trouble.
Lauren, it's just occurring to me, I think California had crossed the line when they ran Elon Musk out of there. Whatever you might think of him, they literally made it inhospitable for the world's richest man leading maybe the most promising and exciting companies to operate inside their state. And that might have been where the end, you could kind of see this. There was no way out of that once they started chasing Silicon Valley. I mean, what else does California have than Silicon Valley? And they're running Silicon Valley out of San Francisco to go everywhere else.
Well, what they first started running out, though, before that, were insurance companies. They started putting restrictions on them as to what they could do and couldn't do that were so awful that people said, well, I'm just not going to sell policies in your state anymore. And then also the oil business, they ran out. But the one thing to remember is that this is not exactly new, because at the dawn of the movie studio era, even though the studios were in California, the home office for Paramount, New York.
Right.
And so the boards and the top executives were all in New York, and the studios were on the coast, as they say. So it would be going back to a system that operated a long time ago. So,
Lauren, add to that, please, though, that the tech side of this too, and then you've got like the new media is largely leaving. Like, you know, Nashville has become a hotbed for the new media. So, Lauren, it seems like the excitement, right? I mean, oil is important. It's yeah, that's an understatement. But like the futurism, the hot idea of California, that's where the future is taking place. Kind of feels like that's evaporating.
Well, yes. I mean, in California especially, and other states as well. In a lot of ways, I think many segments of our society right now are in the middle of a collapse. And it's kind of interesting if you start perusing like job search sites and places where you get tips for spiffing up your resume and finding jobs. It's one of the worst job markets out there that I've ever seen, and it's because you have so much industry disruption going on. One of the interesting things about this is I talked to Clifton Duncan about this a couple of years ago, wondering if it would be possible for another entertainment hub to come into existence, and he was skeptical about the idea, partially because of the influence of all of the guilds. He says that it is so regimented and rigorous about how the entertainment industry works that he was unsure how you would ever reconstitute it somewhere else. So there's a part of me that wonders that if theatrical collapses entirely and you can't easily rebuild Hollywood, do we go back to other forms of entertainment? Do you start having plays and radio taking a resurgent? I don't
radio.
I don't know. You know, I think we're in a weird place where nobody's quite sure what's going to happen.
I think theater, live music, all of that is going to take off in the years to come. But folks, it's not just a migration of Americans. It's not just an exodus from some of these coastal states. Folks, it's an economic change. A tsunami is happening, and it may be escalating. California really has made a horrible mistake. You know, their mistake is the gain of other places, but this chasing Paramount out is going to do grave damage, and it could be the beginning. This is what's even worse for them. It could be the beginning of other studios saying, why are we here then? The proximity promise is no longer what we were told. It's time to move. We're getting out of here. It's like a reverse of the Beverly Hillbillies, you know. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you, we've got Eric Metaxas on the show tomorrow at noon Eastern. We've got about 1,200 of you watching right now on just YouTube. We are at about 1,600 total, so 400 of you more on X. Join us tomorrow at 12 o'clock. We'd love to have you Eastern time. Eric Metaxas is going to join us and talk about the real story of America and how that's how they've tried to corrupt the American story, and we'll be excited about that. After that, tomorrow evening, probably 9 p.m., maybe 10. I hope it's not 10. Probably 9 p.m. if I can possibly pull it off. We'll have the Odyssey live review out of the theater. And won't it be interesting if I have to give it a good review? Folks, here's what I'm going to ask you, okay? Because my promise is I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not going to leave a good movie and say it stinks. And I'm not going to leave a bad movie, and I'm not going to, say to you, oh, well, I might get invited to the next special premiere. No. So whatever I say tomorrow, don't say, well, Pro's given over to the shill side. He's joined the dark side. Okay? I'm going to tell it to you straight. If it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. If it's complicated, we'll talk about it. All right, one more story after these super chats. Let's see what we've got. Packing is back again for 10. You know what, Packing? That's it. We're going to stop right now. Packing, this is for you, buddy. We'll play you the clip because you have been there nonstop tonight.
Who you gonna call? Who you gonna call? Who you gonna call? Who you gonna call? You're the one who's out of this world, sweet baby. You're the one who's out of this world.
All right, we've got Packing for 10. Dark Knight is overrated. If they had gotten the Joker right and had Bruce go overboard trying to combat him with cameras to find his next crime, that might have worked better. Yeah, so it depends on if you like the Heath Ledger Joker. I mean, that's ultimately what it comes down to. It's a very different portrayal. If you like the mentally disturbed anarchist performance, then, then it's a movie that you'll really enjoy. If you want the traditional Joker, that's not it. I get it. But for me, I think it's a great movie. Packing for 5, New Jersey these days is like Little New York, thanks to that helicopter pilot that cheated her way in there. No more Hollywood weirdos. And then we've got KB Hugs for $199. Power to the Niners. Is Branson, Missouri a good place for a studio to go?
No.
And tell us why, Lou.
Because we're just a little too far off the beaten track, transportation and communication wise.
Yeah, and we're not trying to be mean to Missouri. We're not trying to, be mean
great
to Branson.
Place, but not for a movie business.
Right. You got to have a little bit more infrastructure there. So, all right, we're going to dive into the final story. Folks, this one is important, but it's not the traditional kind of topic. So if you came here and you said, Pro, I expect a steady flow of exactly what I expect. Well,
expect the unexpected is what I say.
No disrespect, ladies and gentlemen, to keep it going, but we've got an important story that Lou sent my way, and it turns out the crazies at Disney may have migrated over to Netflix. It's what's next, and it's our final scoop of the night. Gone with the Wind is considered to be a classic of classics. It's a great film. It's an amazing film. And it's one that's been under attack for a very long time. Now, Breitbart is reporting that Netflix is going with the ill-advised Disney strategy of warning viewers before they turn on said film. We saw this with Disney, by the way. Do you remember all that? You'd play Aladdin and it would say, we apologize for the negative depictions and stereotypes. They were unkind then. They were inappropriate back in the day, and they still are now. Well, here we go with Netflix. John Nolte writes, Netflix smears Gone with the Wind as racist. And here's the kicker. It refers viewers to Black Lives Matter, which of course we know is a political organization. The statement that is made by the name of the title or by the name of the organization is obvious. I mean, everybody knows that all lives matter, and Black lives matter, and brown lives matter. And I'm not trying to say that, I'm not trying to make any kind of statement with that pronouncement. I'm just trying to say that what has happened here is they've taken a title that seems obvious and then transformed that into a political organization so that then you get the idea. It puts you into a quandary on how you tackle it.
Dare I say a notoriously corrupt political organization?
In which most of the funds were used to apparently purchase residences for the leaders? Yeah. Mansions.
But read what this says, folks. This will just blow your mind.
It says, if you look for the 1939 masterpiece, Gone with the Wind, on Netflix, you'll be smacked across the face as a racist and scolded into seeking out the far left-wing radicals in BLM. It says, here's the blurb, Gone with the Wind, 1939, rated G. Just sit on that for a minute, okay? We're gonna pummel something rated G. A 1939 American Civil War epic known for its racism. Well, have fun watching that. To learn more about Black Lives Matter in America, search, quote, Black Lives Matter, unquote. Lou, before we go any further, this has to be a mistake that like an intern activist has done this, and surely this is not real. I mean,
it's real, and don't call me Shirley.
But Lou, this cannot be.
The idea that they have no systems in place to monitor this stuff that their junior birdmen do, if that's who did it, says something about upper management there that I've said for a long time,
Right. I mean, this is just silly. It says, does Gone with the Wind traffic and stereotypes? Yes, to a degree. But not just of black people. Still, you have to be a simple-minded reactionary to dismiss one of the greatest movies ever made as known for its racism. What's more, you have to be a racist yourself, says the article, to refer anyone to the type of group as BLM. It says Gone with the Wind stereotypes two of its black characters. Gone with the Wind also stereotypes white Northerners as evil marauders or slimy carpetbaggers. And there is no nuanced, independent-minded, and sympathetic mammy character to add any kind of complexity to those evil, predatory white Yankees. What's more, the movie's protagonist, Scarlett O'Hara, is at times a deeply unsympathetic character, a selfish, vain, husband-stealing user and conniver. Her flaws and virtues are what make her one of the all-time great characters in American storytelling. And says this is how dumb some people are. Says it's not about the Civil War. It's not about slavery. It's not even about the Old South. It is the trappings to tell a story about surviving the Depression as your way of life vanishes, something tens of millions of Americans were dealing with in 1939 and had been dealing with for 10 years since the crash of 29. So there you go, folks. They put a warning label on Gone with the Wind, and it's the actual label itself that's so flat out incredible. Lou, if we imagine this from the other side, imagine if there was a film. Oh, I don't know. Let's say it's actually a cartoon. Let's say you turned on Bluey, the little cartoon dog, and before you turned it on, it said, "This show is a show about Australian blue healers, and it's actually about the patriarchy and how nuclear families are inappropriately better than all other families. For more information, go to GLAAD, GLAAD.
That's the one I thought you were going to say.
Yes. So, Lou, that would be equally ludicrous. We're not on the side of being partisan here. We're on the side of the mainstream middle, the sensible center. We're arguing, get out of this crazy stuff from both sides and just come to sensibilities.
And Hattie McDaniel, who you see there, paid for her family and her kids to go to college from working in the movies. But there are people who want her and Stephen Fetchit and Rochester, James Baker. Certainly, they want them not to have worked at all. Is that what their plan is, to help people? Is to say, well, because of your color, you should be banned from the movies? Is that really where they want to go? I tell you.
Well, let's talk. So Nick Stewart was the voice of Brer Bear in Song of the South, and we interviewed his daughter in the first year of the program, and he took on some of these roles that were a little bit obviously stereotypical at the time. Those were the jobs he could have, and he took some of those roles and he started the Ebony Theater in Los Angeles, which was the launching board for so many black actors. And to my knowledge, Hattie McDaniel was closely associated with all of this, and was a big participant.
By the way, Mako, great Japanese actor, started East West Players, same idea.
And so these movies are black history is, you can't separate it from this, because these movies they pushed the edge of what society was sometimes willing to do, like Song of the South featuring Hattie McDaniel, her winning these awards, and James Baskett playing Uncle Remus in Song of the South and winning, a lifetime forever Oscar achievement, one of only 2 that was ever given. These are also the films that led to these black actors literally taking every dollar they made, essentially, and pouring it back, investing it back into making progress and giving other black actors opportunities. So it's amazing to me that we've decided to boil this down now to, what's the description of this movie? Racism. Why? Because some ninny crazy kid out of a liberal arts college who studied gender studies and got an internship at Netflix decided to type it in and hit enter, and nobody watched and said, stop it, you.
Well, and in light of our previous story, what if Netflix had wound up owning Warner Brothers and Paramount and all the rest of it that they wanted? How would we feel now?
Right, exactly. Lauren, your thoughts on the situation here with Gone with the Wind, and I guess the very simple-minded, unnuanced explanation of this. It reads as propaganda, of course, and that's really what it is. Fox News is covering this. It says resurfaced Netflix description of Gone with the Wind as being known for its racism sparks online uproar. Your thoughts on this, Lauren?
Yeah, I think you pretty much already covered everything that I would say. The only thing that I would add to these people that I'm betting added this description without ever having seen the movie is the same thing that I said the other night if Christopher Nolan was trolling us. Read a book. Learn something about the past. Understand that the utopia that you envision, one, is an impossibility based on the policies that you would implement. But secondly, that all progress is made through progress. If you're a progressive, you have to understand that means that you start at one place and you end up at a different destination that is hopefully better, and that requires incremental change. That movie and these movies that we're talking about are part of what led to that incremental change. These people were recognized for their efforts. They won awards. They won hearts and minds at the movie theater and on TV when these things were rebroadcast, that allowed society to realize maybe some of my preconceived notions were not correct, and that allowed society to correct some of the ills of the past. That is a good thing. You may want to be able to say, well, we don't like the idea of having a stereotypical role in a movie. Well, Back then, you're not going to have the progressive values that you have today represented as a fully realized three-dimensional character of today's era, because that's not how things were. It's just not. History may be inconvenient to you, but it is true. And if you erase it, it's actually going to lead to very bad things. It is important to know your history so you can know where we came from, what things were bad, how we overcame them, and that it is a process. If you don't understand that progress is a process, then you're not really a progressive.
Worse.
Right, and
you're going to buy the lie that groups like Black Lives Matter sell you that, hey, in one fell swoop, we can change the world. Now
Right.
just give us your money.
Yeah, and that's always the solution. It's always your money. That's always the solution. That's how it'll be fixed. You just trust them, folks. Anybody who tells you, the solution, the way that we'll fix the world, donations, please. We would love your donations, that we'll fix it. Here's the other thing I would say. Sanitizing is never a great idea, because when you sanitize the past, you can't learn from the past. And Christian Toto at the HollywoodInToto.com website, bookmark it, folks, has this to say, and I think it's great. And it's a great way to give the kind of nuance that Netflix has failed. It says, Netflix's Gone with the Wind page features a terse description of the beloved film, a title attacked in recent films for its archaic perspective on slavery. It says, no, it's not remotely close to, quote, Birth of a Nation, a film with profoundly racist content. Still, Gone with the Wind doesn't excoriate the peculiar institution like a film made today would. That explains partly the Netflix descriptor on the title. Now, the reason I read this is because this is really important to know. We are not saying that racism is missing from all old films. That is definitively not true. What we're saying is Gone with the Wind is probably not a participant in that. As Christian Toto is outlining, Birth of a Nation does have that in it, and we do say that that's not okay, although you probably still should watch it so that you can know what that looks like and say, wow, that is inappropriate. We should not do that. And same thing with Disney. Not Song of the South. Fantasia. Most people have never seen the unedited full Fantasia. It's almost impossible to find it. There is a segment in Fantasia that is unbelievably inappropriate and should be not shown by Disney, except for educational purposes, because it really is. It is just too much. So we're not trying to sugarcoat it. We're not trying to whitewash it. We're not trying to say this never happened. We're trying to say, folks, don't erase history, warts and all. We need to know this stuff. And we don't need to be so basic, so childish, so naive as to just label things like Song of the South as, well, this movie is racism. That'll do it. No, that is not at all sufficient. And it's still a classic, an incredible film. Lou, I'll give you the final word on it.
Oh, well, let's take it all back to our first story. With using contemporary dialogue and contemporary modern style to tell a classic story, it's the same kind of blindness that does stuff like this. And by the way, for those who don't know, Birth of a Nation is the story of the creation of the Ku Klux Klan. Why would certain people nowadays not want you to know about that? End of story.
End of story. But I'll tell you this, folks. Be kind to everybody out there, even if they're misled, even if they're misguided. And remember, if you're being mean or you're judging people based on the color of their skin or ethnicity, that is the lowest resolution thinking that you could possibly have. Treat everybody as an individual, because it turns out they just might be one, because you, well, certainly are. And maybe you and them together, you might be stars of your own play, even independent of how it is you came into this world. Take care of all God's babies. One little super chat remains, and it's from Sean Tower for 5. I tried a super chat with the title GWTW. Gone with the Wind, and it will not allow it. You mean YouTube won't? Oh, we're going to be in trouble then, because we said it a bunch of times. Some other things too. If you watch it on YouTube, they give you an entire lecture. Oh, Oh my. Lauren, do you need a lecture? Do you want a lecture before you watch some classic movie?
I think I've probably had enough lectures from people who are not my betters.
Lou, you want a lecture before you turn on It's a Wonderful Life or Citizen Kane? You want a good lecture before that happens?
No.
Oh.
Is the simple answer. No.
Oh, fine then.
But at least online, you can fast forward a little bit past the beginning. So
that's right.
There's that.
All right. Well, Lou, you are a prolific writer and provider of all things what's going on in entertainment. You are. Could you tell the folks out there about your Patreon, which I think they should be subscribing on today?
I wish they would, but just know I've got 3 episodes sort of about to go up because I haven't in a while. But that's where I talk about things that we don't talk about, or if I do, about how the show business could relate to your business. But we also talk about food, we talk about politics, we talk about all the other stuff that I'm interested in and have something to say. But I do not guarantee you a post every week or so many a month. I don't want to waste your time unless I've got something worth saying. So that's the story there. So if you understand that that's the deal, for $5 a month, you get access to all of that stuff. Now, of course, in addition, I do this show. And normally after this show, we'd be doing Hollywood Backlot. But as we told you last time, because culture's on the road and I was going to be, something changed, that'll come next week again after this show. And then, of course, Lauren and I, along with Hangry, do the Genre Guys, which all of you people who got fresh memberships tonight, thanks to generous people, you now have access to. How many are there now, Lauren? 80, 90, 100?
There's over 100, I believe. So at least in scheduling. So
and they run first as member-only perks here on the Pro channel, and then they move over to the other channel for free in a couple of months. So there's a whole lot of content beyond these wonderful live shows that you're missing if you're not looking for it. So go look, you'll find.
That's right. Folks, it's Lou's Views on the Patreon. Go check it out today. All right, we've got another super chat that came in, and it's from Cheryl Lynn for $5. If you change or erase history, as the saying goes, quote, those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it.
Yes.
That's right. All right, folks, it's been a great show today, and it's been a great show because you came our way. Still 1,500 people watching us right now, and we have had a great time. The Odyssey is going to be the topic for a lot of tomorrow, so get ready. We'll be back on tomorrow night. And don't forget, after we do the Odyssey, and as it continues to make waves through the weekend, we'll be making waves at the Southeast Game Exchange. Stay with us, stick with us, and come join us. Greenville, South Carolina, July 17th through 19th. We would appreciate it. We would love to get to see you. And if you're nowhere close to South Carolina, just know that we're going to go all over the country. We have not yet announced the next dates, but you can bet we'll be joining you very, very soon. All right, folks, that's it for us. That's a wrap. Let's get out of here. And remember, even if Star Wars has stumbled, even if Disney Animation has crumbled, even if Paramount is leaving California and the politicians there are bumbling about, there's one thing you can know without a doubt. Them clones ain't loyal.
Commander Cody, the time has come, homie. Execute Order 66. I'm still alive, motherfucker. Riding in the gunship, me and my squad. Thought we was day ones, now they coming in too hot. I deflected every blaster just to keep you in the mix. When did y'all start playing? Hit me with that 66. Got my 5 first boys with my day one shooters. I have had it with these motherfucking dancing clone troopers. These clones ain't loyal.
The mainstream media just can't understand how it is we continue to do what we do. They don't realize that we are powered by you, and you are...
1.21 gigawatts! 1.21 gigawatts!
Folks, we've still got decades and decades left in the can. It drives the mainstream mad.
Would it make you feel any better if you knew that what we're asking Matt here to do is a holy thing?
You see, we're on a mission from God. We're on a mission from God.
Now you're gonna put me right back in the joint.
They're not gonna catch us. We're on a mission from God.
So, folks, as we always say as we end each and every show here, and we mean it, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Every time they hit him, he stood back up again. So they hit him harder. Still, he got back to his feet. Standing man.
Detail Devil for $199. Gone with the Wind 4K remaster in theaters, coming out October 11th. Don't miss out, ladies and gentlemen. And take care. We'll see you at the Southeast Game Exchange.
This is my carol.